Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Starting a little early. Just waiting for everybody to come in. Welcome, welcome. And we'll get started in a little bit. Just again, as always, I'm testing out the cameras to make sure everything is okay. Just making sure everything's good. Uh, Let me click off of this real quick. Cool. All right. I think we're doing good. Wait for people to come in. As always, get your libations, your snacky snacks, and so on and so forth. Libations, foods, snacks, smokes, everything your heart desires. Okay. All right. Okay, welcome everybody. So sorry about that. I was having a little bit of difficulty with adjusting the camera. It's a little bit of a different setup today. I know everybody's like, "Ew, we can actually see you clearly today. We can sell your freckles." Yes. Well, welcome everybody. I'm trying to get used to the camera setup here, like this. Hopefully, it all works out just fine. Hopefully, you enjoy. I was eating a little bit earlier. I got some water. It's water with lemon and ginger. I have some Takis. I have some ginger snaps with soy milk. I know everyone's like, soy milk. Yeah, soy milk. So, anyway, so welcome. Just trying to adjust everything properly. Get everything going. Okay, cool. So, this was a requested topic. Sorry, it was a requested topic from a viewer. and internalized homophobia. Um, I've gone through this. At the time, I didn't realize it was homophobia when I was growing up. It was things I was dealing with myself, dealing with trying to figure out what I was. Was I part of the LGBTQ community? And in what capacity? Was I lesbian? Was I something else? And I quickly realized that I was pansexual. It took some time for me to figure out what that terminology was because I didn't know for a long time what it was. Um, yeah, for a long time I didn't know what it was. So it was very, it's kind of scary um, to go through that. It was kind of scary to admit that there was an attraction to more than one gender. And also, coming to the realization that family members also were not into the idea of me being a part of the LGBTQ community. I even dated people who didn't really think I was pansexual. They felt like when I got with them, that all of a sudden I turned either lesbian or straight or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm still a pansexual person. That doesn't change. That hasn't changed. So, internalized homophobia is an interesting topic because, um, people are kind of talking about the little Nas X thing, and I thought that was interesting because it wasn't even that edgy in terms of what he could have done. I mean, him sliding down the pole and then doing a pole dance on the devil, on the Satan, honestly, it's just whatever to me. But the idea that, he had to hide himself for a long time or hated himself for being homosexual, I can totally understand where that comes from. And then just people just disliking you, people just hating you for you being yourself. And that's always an interesting thing to go through. Uh, it took some time for me to get comfortable with the idea that I am a pansexual person, just because a lot of people didn't know what it was. But in terms of internalized homophobia, um, a lot of it's perpetuated by society and your environment, obviously. So if you grew up in a household where this kind of stuff was like shunned, it was not like favored, then obviously these are things that are going to um, greatly hinder your ability to move forward. It's just the nature of the thing, really. If your community does not find value in you, the community wants to uh, pretty much disown you, then that would create internalized homophobia as well. Like you hating yourself for being homophobic. Um, there are people who have hate for homophobic people because not necessarily because of what they do, but because society bolsters it. Society is like, whatever community they come from, they're against it. So thus, they kind of, a lot of people are status quo. A lot of people are very much status quo. So you're going to get that, a lot of that. When we're talking about internalized homophobia. Um, there are several cases where there were men that came out and they were homophobic, but they actually were part of the community. And they did that because they didn't want to be excommunicado. They didn't want to be excommunicated from their families, beaten, killed, right? I always tell people there's like worse things than death that happens. I referred to a movie before. It's called Boys Don't Cry, and the person didn't have internalized homophobia, but the people in that community, a good majority of them, really hated um, anything related to the gay community. So, hi, filmer, welcome. Welcome. Oh, so just so everybody knows, this is a requested topic, and this topic came from SV Filmer. We were discussing a little bit this week about how we're going to address the subject of internalized homophobia. I noticed something recently. There was a couple of YouTubers I was subscribed to, and hope all is well. Yes, Wallbanger, welcome. Wallbanger 1982, SV Filmer, welcome, everybody. Everybody who's watching, everybody in the chat, welcome. I noticed there's a couple of YouTubers that I used to watch, and I recently watched them when I saw a thumbnail of Lil Nas X holding that Nike shoe, and everybody's making all these like religious like references and saying that it's the coming of this and the coming of that, and I'm like, well, if you don't believe in any of that stuff, let's say you're not religious, none of that even matters to you. But I thought it was interesting when I was listening to them talking. I'm like, it couldn't just be the fact that I don't know what he did was not that strange. Other people have played with this dancing on the devil thing and like using that to ward off certain ideas about being homosexual or coming from the LGBTQ plus community. So I just thought it was just strange that people are acting like this is, weird. Again, he's like a number. He's like being a troll to people right now. He's making everybody feel uncomfortable, which I think is funny. Um, and reading his story where he's talking about again how he kind of hated himself because people hated what he was or what he is, leads to a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight about internalized homophobia. I'll share some stories with you and some of the things that I went through with struggling with my sexuality. Again, me being pansexual, I think it's easier for people to kind of understand what that is. I think women in general, when they say that either they're, I can't say in general because there are people who shun women who are gay. But if a woman comes out and says that they might be curious or that their sexuality is this or that, it's a little bit more accepted in society, and women have a little less of a hard time transitioning. Not to say it doesn't happen. I'm not saying that. It really does depend. Again, I use the reference again, Boys Don't Cry, where this person was female transitioning to a male. And it was a very brutal movie about somebody in real life. A really great film, hard film to watch, especially the scene where she's being abused by two people, sexually abused. Hey, what's going on, gamer? SV Vilmer says, I was bullied severely in junior high, which led me to have internalized homophobia and racism for years. I understand that. Um, when you get brutalized and you get beat up, it makes sense why you would have like hate for those people who did it to you. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense why you would feel that way. I'm glad you don't have those feelings anymore. I'm glad that you've grown from what happened to you. It's definitely difficult to say that some people have it easier. Some people go through this trial of like being in the LGBTQ community. Their trial is easier. Other times people go through the worst stuff. And Filmer was so gracious for sharing their experience. Gamer. Hi, everybody. What's up, Gamer? Good to see you. Yes. So I remember when my father found out that I was gay. That I was a part of the LGBTQ community. At first, he thought I was lesbian. He was like, "You like females?" And I was just like, it kind of happened in a really funny way. My brother found out first, my older brother, which I love to death. He was like, "Look, Kelly, just so you know, Dad found out you're gay." And I was just like, "Oh, so I guess you found out too." And he's like, "Yeah, I don't care. You do what you want. But I just want to let you know Dad's like upset." And I was just like, "Yeah, I could give a good shit if he's upset." And he, went off for like, he went off and was telling me that I wasn't. And I was just like, "Well, you know, I'm not lesbian." For a long time I thought I was, because I definitely was into like women. I was just like, "Yes, I will have sex with you. I think you're sexy. I think women are just sexy in general." But um and then I was like also into men. So I was like, "Okay, am I bisexual?" And then I like started dating other people. I started dating trans people, and I realized very quickly it wasn't necessarily um the gender I was attracted to. It was the people, it was the person, the people I was attracted to. And it was so hard to explain this to people that I grew up with, because even I had a brother who like told me like, "Oh, you, my sister can't be part of the LGBTQ community. There's no way." And I'm just like, "Yeah, no." So, like, if we think in terms of like numbers, I think it's like 1 out of every 7 or 10 people you meet will be part of the LGBTQ community. So I was just like, I have a big family. So I'm just like, out of all of us, more than likely one of us was going to be it. you know, uh, I just I happen to want to get the golden ticket. Yay. I happen to be the one who get it. But, um, but it caused a lot of issues. I, I would run away a lot. Like I would leave a lot to be by myself. Well, not run away like, "Oh, I'm running away from home." Nothing like that. Um, but I would go away uh, a lot. I spent a lot of time by myself. I learned to be alone a lot, because a lot of times I didn't feel like I fit in with people. Um, I couldn't relate. I couldn't relate to a lot of the things that people were doing. I couldn't relate to the boyfriend problems. I couldn't relate to um, baby mama drama. I didn't have any children. I didn't have a desire to have any kids. So I couldn't relate to a lot of people's issues in like junior high school, even college. I couldn't relate, because I just didn't have those problems. I didn't have to worry about a babysitter. I didn't have any children, and worry about somebody sneak down on me. Like I've always been single or dating somebody. So and I'm very much like, I don't believe in controlling people. I don't believe in like, you're mine and that's the way it's going to be. I don't believe in that. So for me, when it came to all this internalized homophobia, it took time. It took being in places that welcomed people like me. One of the first places I went to a gay bar, and the first gay bar was not out here in Bakersfield. The first gay bar I went to, one of the first gay bars I went to was in Chicago. I went to, I think it was, I don't know if it was called Roscoe's. I think it was called Roscoe's. It's very famous. And I would always go to this restaurant uh, to eat right next to it. It was called Nookies, I think. Nookies or something like that. And it's a restaurant right next to Roscoe's nightclub. And I met a lot of cool people. It was one of the first drag shows I went to, and it was really great because later on, when I went to drag shows in California, I could actually compare and be like, this was good, or nah, this was trash, or so that was cool, because again, it was like, this place was like a groundbreaking place for stuff that was happening in the LGBTQ community. I also went to a gay pride parade in Chicago when it's still, I think at the time, I think it was owned by, I think LaSalle Bank would do it with a couple of people for the gay pride. LaSalle Bank got bought out by Bank of America in Chicago, but uh, so I learned to like really care about, you know, myself and hold on a second. Boo, 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 boo. My bad. Okay. Um, I quickly learned to appreciate people in that community and their stories and their journeys that they went through. Um, I went through a lot of nights, sleepless nights, crying. I know, very, 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 very dramatic. Crying. Yeah, I was crying. I'd be up nights thinking like, just confused before I realized I was pansexual. I thought for a long time that I was really meant to be a guy. Like I thought, oh, I'm not supposed to like women. You know, maybe I'm supposed to be a dude. Maybe I'm in the wrong body. And for some time, I like walk around and like try to wear outfits like, you know, like a guy. And I quickly realized it wasn't me. Like it wasn't my thing. Like I wasn't meant to be. There's terminologies for it, butch, stud, whatever. I wasn't meant to be that way, and um, yeah, I just didn't have the demeanor uh, to do it. And it wasn't me. Again, I was trying to play into a caricature of what I thought I was supposed to be. Because again, people kept telling me, "Oh, you're not supposed to like women. You're not supposed to like this. You're not supposed to like that." So um, I started hating like the pieces of me that were always me. I started hating like my feminine qualities. I used to hate like standing in the mirror and seeing like, you know, my butt sticking out or like, you know, the curves I had. I was really resenting that stuff because I couldn't understand how I could be attracted to women and then it be looked at as a bad thing and trying to figure out, well, am I in the wrong body? Is that why? And again, just realizing that it wasn't the case. SV Filmer says, I told my sister I was pansexual when I was in my early 20s. She didn't care, but she would threaten to tell my mom when when we got into arguments. Yeah, it's really unfortunate. As Filmer continues to say, so the following year, I finally told my parents and other family members I'm asexual and pansexual. No one really cared. It shocked me because I grew up in a religious family. Interesting. Yeah, you know, uh, it's interesting that you're a combination of asexual and pansexual. Um, because some people think that asexual people don't enjoy sex. Asexual people just aren't really focused on that stuff. Like it's not something that like, oh, I'm just like I'm horny today. Like, nah, it's not really like that. They do have sex. They do. Um, not aliens. I always like think it's funny when people bring up asexual people because I'm like, they're just people. They're just not hyper focused on that. And pansexuality again. When I realized like nothing was wrong with me, I'm just like attracted to people who are just like they have certain qualities. Um, then I realized nothing was wrong with me, so I wasn't then trying to figure out how to grow a mustache. I wasn't trying to figure out how to grow a beard. I wasn't trying to figure out how to like what kind of fitted cap do I wear? Do I need to have surgery to like remove my breast? Do I need to have surgery to like get a penis? Do I have to do that? When I realized I didn't have to do that, I became a lot more comfortable in my skin. I got more comfortable with how I'd walk, how I'd carry myself. Uh, And I also started really focusing on myself. I really started focusing on my health because when I was going through those trials and tribulations and trying to figure out what the hell I was, and if it mattered, if it didn't matter, and it doesn't matter, uh, I wasn't taking care of myself. And again, I always tell people when I was in Chicago, all I did was eat like garbage. So to substitute those feelings, I didn't know what to do with those feelings. I didn't want to become more destructive, so I'd eat. And I realizing that was also creating a problem. So after I left Chicago and I started working out, I gained a new self-esteem about like my body and how my body would looked and what was okay and what wasn't okay, what was reasonable, what wasn't reasonable. And I just learned to like love myself. I learned to care about myself and accept the fact that I just am not this just straight and narrow person in anything. So yes, but it was funny because my father again was like, "What do you mean? I thought you liked girls." And I was just like, "No, I literally told my dad. I said, no, I fuck both and all." Like I literally told my dad. I said, no, I fuck both, and he was like, what? And I said, yes, I fuck both. He's like, so does that mean you're bisexual? I said, no, I also fuck trans people too. And I said, it's not really about if the person's a man or a female. And so anyway, he thought it was really funny. So he would like, throw jokes at me from time to time, not in a malicious way, just kind of like he thought it was just interesting because none of his other children are part of the LGBTQ community. So, and I would throw jokes back at him as a straight, cis man. I would throw jokes back at him all the time. Some he didn't like, some that he didn't think was quite funny. I thought all my jokes were funny. Just saying. But in terms of the religious thing, I was fortunate not to be in a household where like uh, it was super religious. I know that can be hard for some people who are dealing with their sexuality because those places can be quite unforgiving when it comes to. I got my libations. I'm about to have my smoke. Join me. Um, I know those places can be quite unforgiving. So I'm gonna light up for y'all. Y'all get your smokes and your drinks. Okay. I do want to show something to you. I found interesting. Again, there was a YouTuber I was watching, and I typically like some of her stuff. But when people are like, I don't know if I'm looking at the camera correctly, if I'm looking at the right. Um, there was this YouTuber who she was talking about a Lil Nas thing, and it made me like cringe because I'm like, again, he's not doing anything like strange or out of the ordinary. This has been done before. But I wanted you to hear what she was saying because again, it was like very religious based, and I thought it was very interesting. I think they also still have like in some religions they still practice this whole where you would go to a special camp to, I guess, detox the gay out of you. I don't remember what the camps are called, but like it's to get the pray the gay away bullshit, right? So puff puff, yes, puff puff. By the way, if you've been watching my Instagram, I've been cleared to lift weights again. I'm very very excited to lift weights again. Do you have a vagina? Well, welcome, Lemonhead Hebrew 7. Do I have a vagina? The answer is yes. I am not a transgendered person. never transitioned. I was simply making a point that there was a time in my life where I felt like, was I supposed to be a guy? Because people kept telling me, oh, no, you're not, you don't like women. You know, you're just going through a phase. And I'm like, no, I'm not going through a phase. I actually enjoy fucking women. I do. I actually really enjoy fucking women. I'm trying to look at the camera, but I'm not certain if I'm looking in the right spot. So maybe I need to look right here. I'm not certain. How's your flexing? I know you're trying to get on my Instagram. My flexing is okay. I will be starting my workout programs again very soon because I will not be able to go outside. Just found out that they finally opened the pool again where I'm at. And so I'm thinking, like, I really want to go swimming. I love swimming. Swimming is one of my favorite things to do. Honestly, if I could swim naked, I would. Unfortunately, I cannot do that because there are people who live here. So I cannot do that. Gay conversion camp, I think. Yes, that's what it's called, gay conversion camp, which is so ridiculous. What was that famous, like, there was this gay guy who was like, I don't want men's no more. I loves women's. I ain't gays no more. Who's that? I forgot who that was. My God. Wild Banger 1987. I mean, gay conversion therapy camp, they call it. Yes, gay conversion therapy. Yes. Lemonhead Hebrew 7 says, you would want to marry me, or would I want to marry you? Well, how about this? There are several people who've tried, and I've declined all. So I like my freedom. By the way, I have some ginger snaps. Don't hate. Hating's not cute. Ginger snaps. California skinny dipping. Yes, I actually have skinny dipped when I was a kid. I remember, like, not a kid, excuse me. I was in high school and I skinny dipped. I think I was like 16 years old and I like loved it. I went outside butt naked and jumped in the pool. Everybody was sleeping and I was just like swimming around for hours. It's fantastic. It was at night too. It's great. I wish I could do that now again. If I could just jump in the pool, butt ass naked, have my cakes out and everything, and go swimming, I totally would do this. But you know, COVID and like, there's also children around. I don't want to get in trouble. So I've never seen Jesus with no ladies. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. I don't know. You should be careful what you say because some people will read that and they want to smite you, man. There are people who do not play about their religion. There are people who do not joke about their religion. They get down and dirty for their God. Soy do not does not like me. um, this is soy milk, very good. If you never had soy milk, I say try it. Yeah, there's some people who will kill for their motherfucking Lord and Savior. Interesting enough, the Bible never disowned or like never said anything. Well, Jesus never really said anything about hetero homosexuality at all. It was like, y'all need to start giving to poor people and stop doing this bullshit that you're doing. It's interesting how people like totally glaze over a lot of stuff. Like the important things you should be caring about, not the dumb shit. But then again, I am not a religious person. If somebody were to preach to me, I just roll my eyes and keep going. So Yes, soy milk, delicious. So let me show you something. I want to show you this. This is an old video I did. And I wasn't kidding when I said like I used to do quite a bit of videos on here where I talk about stuff that just I don't know why I can't pull this up. Oh, here we go. So this is me. See it? Look how different I look. Look at that. I got a little bit of a tan today. Hold on. I was outside with my tan. I was getting tan on. It was nice. It was nice and sunny, and it was like I think it's like 90 degrees or something right now. I was outside getting a tan. You can see all my freckles coming out a little bit. Dude, my traps was killer back then. My traps was like really poking out. But then again, I was not healthy in this video. I was not eating the proper stuff. But let me show you this, because this video I was literally talking about like, do I hate being gay? And this was what I was talking about, like, do I like being gay? Am I gay? Am I lesbian? I had another video where I was talking about being pansexual. So I have a video here called I Hate Being Gay. So literally I have a video up about this. But what I want to show you was a subscriber. I think I'm subscribed to. I'm just going to go back here. And she was talking about Lil Nas. And I didn't like the language they were using. Here we go. Now, I like her content, but she was really going in on Lil Nas X. Let me try to pull up what she was saying.
To donate blood as an act of charity, but 6 workers at Mischief, a quirky company based in Brooklyn that's known for products like toaster shape, bathroom bombs, rubber chicken. Show you. If we can make people a fan of the brand and not the product, we can do whatever we want. This is what Greenberg said. This is what he told the news website Insider. So they're pretty much saying they don't care what Nike is saying. So let's just take a closer look at.
So I can't play too much. I just want to pull up what they're talking. They're talking about the shoe, but really what they're talking about is the fact that, this whole, the worshiping the devil thing. Like, I don't think Lil Nas X worshiped the devil. This was literally a play. This was a play on, like, oh, you're going to hell if you're gay. That's literally what all this was. It wasn't all this other stuff that people were trying to make it. The shoes were just like a gimmick. The shoes were just a thing to get people like, oh, talking. Like, he was trolling. His whole team was trolling. Sadly, just left the group like that. She went to the archives. Holy shit! Yeah, I had to. I had to. I'm not them though. Like, this is Muhammad. I hear you. So it has estrogen in it. Oh my gosh, I gotta like debunk y'all on the vegan stuff. The estrogen thing, the soy thing. Don't worry about that. You're fine. You can really be worried about eating too much fucking meat. Well, you should know that Hebrew 7, if your name goes with the same thing. So let me try to pull that back up. Boom, boom. So anyway, so she's talking about this shoe, but really what they were talking about, if you listen to this whole stream, they're talking about quite a few things, but mainly they're saying that, this is a sign, this is like a religious sign. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not.
And the thing about it is, I'm like, it's like Am I really surprised? Really, no, because this been pushed all over. This been pushed all over in so-called secret for years. It's like they've been pushing all these symbolic messages and crooked messages in satanic fashion for a long time now. So as far
I have to say, I disagree. You know that you see these theories, and they want to say that they have to get a gay black man to do this, and I'm like, no, this is just really good marketing. This is not what everybody's trying to make it seem. This is just good marketing. It's keeping people talking now, isn't it? People are interested in what he's bringing out. Now, aren't they? The whole point is what's one of the one things you heard Floyd Mayweather say? I'm gonna use him because he's a brilliant marketing person. What's the one thing that he always say? Hate me, love me, whatever the attention gets me. That's what I need because that's where the money is. The villain is hated. The villain gets paid. Same thing with the hero. A villain probably gets paid more money. So that's why like all this is trolling. But people want to turn it into this whole the gay thing and it's scary and we're going to hell and this was all just clever marketing. And Lil Nas even said when I was a kid, like, and I keep bringing this up because this is what this man said. People hated me. People hated him for being gay. There's a lot of other YouTubers who brought this up too. I don't know if y'all know this. Justin James, the King of Reeds. I happen to know that man. He came to CSUB. I brought them on campus to talk about LGBTQ sexual assault and harassment. I also brought Adrian Expression when they were still talking, when they were still friends and still cool. They both came to the campus of CSUB, spent time with them and everything like that. And they talked about a lot of these particular things, especially Adrian, because he grew up in a religious background. And he talks about extensively on his channel about how like you're told that you ain't shit, you told you going to hell and all this other stuff. And he also grew up with a family. I think his parents are Nigerian. I think his mom is Nigerian. I don't want to get that wrong for anybody here's an Adrian fan. You see, Hassan the Mad, Lil Nas could have came with a better visual and shoe, but hey, that's on him, his choice. Well, I didn't think the shoe was cool. Like I didn't think the shoe was cool. I thought that was trolling. I thought it was A1 trolling. I definitely thought it was A1 trolling. I wasn't gonna buy that shoe because I just didn't think it was cool. The whole Satan thing to me is whatever. You know, I'm not walking around with no pentagram or anything like that, but I'm also not walking around with a cross. You know what I mean? I'm not wearing like religious stuff. I think the closest religious thing I wear, like one time I wore a cross, like an earring, because I was like channeling Prince. I was pulling Prince. I was like feeling Prince-esque. So I put a cross on my ear, and the first thing that someone who was religious said to me was like, "Why are you wearing that? You're not religious." And I'm like, "Okay, this is the last time I'm wearing this shit," you know. But mainly it was just for aesthetics. Like everybody remembers, like I love that aesthetic. I love that aesthetic. That George Michael, when he was still around, which also he's part of the LGBTQ community, but he had the fade and he had the hair coiffed and he had the cool ass. But if you're not religious, people are like, "What are you doing?" It's like I just like the way it looks, you know. But if somebody's heavy into religion, they'll take offense to that like in a heartbeat. Why wouldn't they? It's literally a crucifix. But some people are into that. I don't know. Some people like that kind of stuff. They like for fashion reason. But I remember I was wearing prayer beads. I had like Buddhist prayer beads. I tend to like Buddhism, but prayer beads. And someone said to me, "Are you Buddhist?" And I said, "No, I just what they represent is like a very great. It's nice, you know." But At the same time, I don't wear them often because, again, I'm not religious. So, don't want to disrespect anybody. Sometimes you will with stuff like that. I think some people might say it's insensitive to do that. I try not to do that. Oh, that's what I want to show you. So if you've never seen this film, I do recommend you all watch this when you have a chance. It's hard. It's hard to watch. It's an old film, but it is relevant to what we're talking about. Actually, Moonlight was a dynamic film about being from the LGBTQ community, from the Black male perspective, and dealing with that. Beautiful film, really brilliant. The way they did that. Let's see if I can add this to the stream. Boys Don't Cry. This is the one right here. Rated R. Yeah, no wonder. Hilary Swank. Yeah. Of course, it's rated R. That is a hard movie to get through. And it's based off of true stories. Let me go back. I'm going to show you this. This is the true story of that. I am not going to play this person's commentary. I simply just want to show you. Let's see if I can try to. Here we go. And they're going to show where is it? I don't know why he's not showing. How about this? I'll play this, but let me look for the actual story.
You want the truth, don't you? A long time ago. Got your mother in a world, 'cause she's not sure if you're a boy or a girl. Why don't you leave the lady alone? I don't want to trouble here.
You gotta be kidding me.
You're this up. Yeah, I think a film club would be a lot of fun. Oh, that's a good film. Let me pull it up. The one you're talking about. I've seen that one time. It was hard to get through. Let me see. What is that came out? I want to say recently, right? I feel like that came out fairly recently.
I am choosing.
Go.
For some reason, Bing just doesn't like anything I pick out for her anymore.
You look
Oh yeah. This is a good film.
You don't want to face the facts.
No,
you don't want to face the
no, look,
facts. Your daughter is turning into a damn man right in front of your eyes, and you can't say it.
I am broken.
Woof. It's a good film. It's a good film. I was gonna say, Seren does a lot. She does Beast Baits on the weekend, where she will watch a film with everybody. Like, she can't show it obviously because of copyright stuff. Like I said, I don't do this for to make money like that. I just simply donations. But again, if people want to, but she does Beast Baits where she will review or she'll watch movies with everybody and talk with them. My thing is, I would love to break down the film, like scene by scene and talk about it if we're gonna do a film club. Just me, it's like the nerd in me because I just love certain things. Like I remember I was breaking down the Matrix forever. I was just like, but did you notice that the film was green when they're in the Matrix? I was one of those people when the Matrix first came out. And I said, did you see? But did you get the significance of this? Did you know this was referencing this philosophy thing from Socrates or whatever? You know, shit like that. That's the kind of dweeb I am. So if you're talking about going hot and heavy, then we can go hot and heavy. But that's a good one right there. Trying to see if it's saying that I can't see the comment. Hold on. Why won't you? Someone told me to flex. Look, if I could pull up your comment, I will let you. I will. Everybody keep asking me to flex. Look, I'll flex when I'm good and ready to flex. Let me see. Here we go. They are both intense to watch, but like anything else, I don't know if that particular movie was based on a true story. I know Boys Don't Cry is based on a true story, and I want to play a little bit about that. There's a couple other films where trauma and sexuality are brought up, you know. Let me see. 6 years ago, maybe. Do you flex on the most? What do you flex on the most? What? I don't know what you mean on. What does that mean? Somebody break it down for me. What do I flex on the most? Let me see. That's on the map. I got a good one. Bamboozled by Spike Lee. Hey. I like the way Spike Lee films. He definitely has a style of his own. That'd be good. I think that'd be a good one to watch. Flex. Yes, I have watched the show Pose. I like it. I like that stuff. I just like the creativity behind all that stuff. I like it. Pose is cool. Let me see if I can try to pull up what you're talking about. Pose, pose, pose. Netflix. Top memorable moments. A Pose. Isn't this a movie? I mean, not a movie, but I know it's a movie. But isn't this also a series? Or am I tripping? It is a series. Oh, okay, I was right. What am I talking about? Because there's just a film named Pose. Are we based on the same thing? Absolute ballroom scene in the late 80s and early 90s. Let me pull up this thing. Hold on. Let me share my screen. God damn it. Share my motherfucking screen. I'm just here to simp. You are gorgeous. Well, thank you for thinking that I am gorgeous. I really do appreciate it. I really do. Today I was feeling not so well, and I appreciate you telling me that I'm gorgeous. Thank you. I mean, that would every piece of me. But Pose. Let me see. I'm trying to see. Is it this? This? I like this. This. Here we go.
What are you doing here? Is there a tired old bitches on Geritol category tonight? I'm here to walk with my house.
Not much of a house with only one bitch in.
More like a studio apartment.
Didn't you hear the news? I'm walking with the house of the bachelor.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait a second. Wait. What did you say? I'm reading this. Okay, wait. You're crazy. Wait, let me bring this back up. Hold on. Hold on a second. Let me share my screen back. Go back to this. Hold on. You get on my nerves. Wait a minute. Okay. You said nature's natural way of population control. You're hilarious. You're stupid. For whatever reason, people are into the same gender or other genders or whatever, everything between. Who knows? Human beings are dynamic. Humans don't even understand why humans do all the things that humans do. This is why we have studies like anthropology. I'm trying to look at the camera, but honestly, I don't know if I'm looking sideways or upward, so I'm not doing that shit no more. I'm just looking at the screen now, looking at people's comments. And yeah, nobody really knows all the shit. Like, why would you have, like, a lot of the stuff that we do? You know, some people associate with cultural things, some people associate it with environmental things. Some people say that they're born like that. You know, who knows? As long as you're not hurting nobody and you're living your life to the fullest, you're happiest, then I don't see an issue. But population, natural selection, that's that natural, nature's natural way of population control. It's so silly. I can't. Very Spock of you. Wallbanger 1982, Pose is having their last season. I think it is on Netflix. Netflix, how dare I? FX Network. SV Filmer, they are, and I'm so sad about it. I like that show. I wonder why they're canceling it, or why it's the last one. Evolution speaking, it makes sense. You would say that, Spock. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that. I can do my fingers like that. Can I do my fingers like that? Kind of. Yes. I was always scared if I could do that. I couldn't do it, but I did. I did it. Okay, so pose. Love how that's shot too. Beautiful. Oh shit! Can we pull up like? Let me see. Let me saw. Pose. The boss. You know what show? Wait a minute. I gotta pause this for a good reason. Hold on. Do you know what show? I see. Now I'm thinking about it. Okay, so one of the shows that I got into that helped me like not be so scared of like okay. When I thought that I was lesbian, right? I started looking for things like in the culture to understand better, like how do I fit in, or like what does this mean? And I would come across certain things, like I would critique things, like on my channel I used to critique. I critiqued a movie that was it was a lesbian Black filmmaker who made a film about lesbian culture in Atlanta, and it was all types. It was like lipstick lesbians, studs, femmes, all that kind of stuff, all that terminology. And there were people transitioning and things like that. And anyway, the film was just very like aggressive. Like the women were very like in each other's faces, screaming and yelling, very hostile. And I made a critique about it, and I was like, dang, like this makes me not want to be in a relationship with no lady because it's like it's intense. Like you really there's like no love there, you know. And so there were a couple other like independent things I watched on YouTube, shows that were like really great that made me like think like, okay, this is like, you know, because in my young mind I was trying to figure out like how are we not like other people? Like I'm trying to figure out like we do the same thing. We're all arguing. We all have bad relationships. You know, me just trying to figure out my young mind. So I was just doing research, if you will. When I came across like gay male relationships, and one of the first shows I watched, well, actually, you know, obviously I seen the L Word. That's a classic. I watched gay, queer as folk. I watched. There was a couple other like shows, but they were like black people, white people, other people, in different groups too, like Indonesian films. I watched just like a whole bunch of international films about like homosexuality. Like actually, my Netflix, I would watch like you could pick a genre. I would pick those particular things. It'd be in comedy, it'd be in drama, it'd be in action, it'd be in everything, and I would watch all that stuff to like get a good like feel for certain things, even like documentaries. Um, and so, thank you, SC Filmer. That's exactly what I was about to say. I came across this black gay filmmaker and this project on the was it was not Bravo. It was what was the network called? It was like Fresh, but it was like a gay network, and it was called Noah's Ark. Noah's Ark was cool as shit, and they had like a reunion recently, and I was like, some people thought like it was too much. Some people thought it was theatrical. They thought it was overbearing. They thought it was just, you know, a lot of things going on with the show. But I was like, nah. Some of this is like, you know, extra, but this is real. It was groundbreaking. And now you see a whole bunch of other people doing it, spinning out and doing a whole bunch of stuff. So let me go back up here and read the comments. I'm so sorry. I'm a little behind. I kind of got caught up in what I was saying. My apologies. Okay. Wildbanger 1982. Yeah, I love Hillary's. Sorry, she is there. Lula is her character name on there. Lulu is her character name on there. Are you still a gamer? I remember you getting excited for E3 trailers several years ago. I am still a gamer. I love games. The next live stream I'm going to do, I'm strictly dedicating that to talking about indie games. I'm going to talk about games that I come across that I love and why I love them. I'll probably be on here for a very long time because I really love talking about fucking video games, especially indie games. So come back on April the, what is that? April the, I don't want to get my dates all wrong. Let me look at my calendar and be a responsible adult. Let me do what adults are supposed to do. The 9th. Come back on the 9th, and we're going to have a discussion about indie games and how they are dynamic. So, again, we'll come back on the April the 9th, same time, and we'll be talking about that. Like your arms, legs, and back. I haven't shown my back in a long time. I'm hoping to kind of show more. I wanted to like really show off this summer, but I got sick and I couldn't like get into the shape I wanted to, and I was stressed and things were stressing me out, and just it's not a good situation to be in to like build muscle and all that kind of thing. If anything, you'll like lose weight or you'll gain weight. I kind of been balancing out now, so kind of getting back down to where I was, and you know, I don't know. I'll get back to it, and y'all will see the progress that I'll make. So I'm really dedicated to it now. Now that I can actually start working out again. SV Filmer, Noah's Ark, exactly. Loved it. EAE at Ms.KellyDozier. Doom Patrol, People Like Us clip. The closeted character in the show. Daydreams about coming out. Pretty dope clip and pretty dope show. Okay, let me see. Let me try to pull that up. Do that here. Doom. Ooh. Doom. Bum, 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 bum. Have I ever seen this? I don't think I've ever seen this. What is this? Is this the karaoke one? Wait. Let me show you this and you let me know if I'm on the right thing. How about that? No guessing over here. Just going to ask the person who knows. This one, right? This one? Oh, this is the extended one right here. Okay, let me play this one.
We come into this world unknown, but know that we are not alone. They try to knock us down. Like us, we gotta stick together. Keep your head up, nothing lasts forever. Here's to the damned, to the lost, and for us. Hey, this is not a funeral. And when you're feeling like it's going down, sing it for the people like time. Oh, people like.
Isn't he gay in real life though? Like, isn't he gay in real life? No? Am I tripping? I know I'm not tripping. I know. Logo. Thank you. That was the name of the network. Logo. Noah's Ark came out on Logo. Logo was like brand new. It was like the premier channel for gay things, and they premiered Noah's Ark, and it was like their #1 ranking show on that bitch because it was awesome. And they were all wearing like these like amazing fashions. As a matter of fact, I have pictures of the show right on my phone and other tablets. And I'm like, I need that black jacket that Noah was wearing when he was walking down the street. He had this black leather jacket. And then Ricky's character had like this really cool, like, he always had like cool, sexy shit. He was like the badass of like the group. He always was like having sex with everybody, which I just loved Ricky's whole situation. I actually liked all the characters, but he always made me laugh because I loved his fashion. I loved his very much like, listen, I'm going to have sex with you. I'm going to have sex with you. Let's go. So, but his fashion was fantastic. And he had this outfit one time. I was just like, it was like a mesh outfit, but it was like, it said something like fragile on it. And I said, oh, that was sexy. It's like, I like that. But anyway, Wahlberger in 1982. Watch that love. Wait, watch that love Noah Ark. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's great. He still does stuff, but he's just known for the Noah character. How can he not be? It was iconic. People still love it. Even the actor who played Wade, like, he's done other stuff, but who cares? You're in a groundbreaking program. Like no matter what you do going forward, it would have to be so great that people like forget that you were on this groundbreaking show. EAE, if I can recall, I think the video you were most excited for was the new God of War, now 3 years old. But but my memory is so bad. That's how old the vid was. Yeah. So the God of War game, I was really excited for it. I actually have that game, love the gameplay all the time. Zero Dawn Rising is awesome too. Play that game, have that game, love it. I will play the new God of War. I don't think I'm going to buy it though. I think I might just go to a friend's house and play it or something. Or my brother might have it, and I'll just play on his PlayStation. But I wasn't gonna buy it. Trying to think of what some other games that have come out. Like I said, the things I want to talk about were the indie games because I've been really focusing on indie games because I love them. I think they are super awesome. And you can play it all on a PC. You don't have to buy a freaking console. I was trying to build another computer, actually. I was trying to build a computer, and I'm like, of course, every part of a computer has gone up. Of course, every piece, the CPUs, the memories, the RAM, everything has gone up. The graphics cards are crazy expensive now, and I'm just like, if we could go back to, let's say, go back to normal. I don't want these to go back to normal, but imagine, like, if you could turn back time, you would invest in like graphics cards. You would invest in graphics cards. You would invest in sanitation. There's just so many things that I think about now. Where if I had like thought about it before, I'm like, everybody's at home. Where are they buying? Oh shit, computer parts. So, sorry. So, you can play everything on a computer. So why in the world would you want to buy a console? Even though I bought almost every console, I don't do that anymore. EAE, Doom Patrol also has a great female character that deals with mental illness. I gotta watch this. I've never seen this before. Why have I never seen this? I don't know why I haven't seen it. Probably because I've been like doing other things. Oh wait. Okay, DC Comics Space Show. DC Comics Space Show. Man, you know what it is? I think I gotten drained from all the like comic stuff, and I think I just like backed away from all of it, especially when I saw what they did to the Justice League. I was disappointed. I was disappointed in Ben Affleck. Disappointed. I mean, he plays a good, like, shitty Bruce Wayne. Like, I can't believe you were Bruce Wayne. But as Batman, I just don't believe it. And I don't like you in suit. I don't like, especially after who just finished playing Batman? Christian Bale, I think, right? So anyway, sorry. Geeky Me came out. But anyway, yeah, I got tired of the comic book stuff. Especially because they weren't getting like dark and gritty until like Joker. And I was like, yes. And what Logan too. Logan was dynamic. Logan, Joker. I love those things because they bring it to reality. And you're like, oh shit. Anyway, sorry. I blacked out. I geeked out for a moment. Sorry. Is that a Game of Thrones ring on your finger, mate? Listen, you would love to know, wouldn't you? You would love to know. You have to pause the video. No, it's just the wolf. It's a black wolf. Actually, someone told me that some spiritual thing someone told me to do. They were like, "Oh, light candles, and your protector is a black wolf." And I said, "That's so funny," because I literally got published for an art piece that I did where I photographed myself drinking coffee, and I superimposed another picture and then changed the colors and dynamic. Anyway, I made the image look like a wolf and like a double overlay image, and the wolf is looking innocent, drinking its coffee, its morning coffee. And so the person that wanted my pictures in the publication was like, well, first of all, they wanted 2 pictures of mine and 2 students that I worked with, they wanted their publications, and actually a couple other students I worked with, they put their stuff in the publication and some of their poetry, and then one of my poems got published. And I think I was also published in someone else's art piece because I modeled for them. So I was published as a model, I was published as an illustrator, I was published as a poet, and I was published as a photographer. Someone liked my stuff, so that was cool. But yeah, the wolf thing, it was just interesting because I've always played that idea with the wolf thing because people have told me you're not as innocent as you say, and I'm just like, in what way do you mean? Because I'm very like nice. I just don't like being fucked with. SV Filmer, I could never understand was the homophobia, biphobia, and transphobia within the LGBTQ plus community. I feel like that's ass backwards. Well, I think there's layers to that because there were certain groups within the like, okay, so other minorities were treated terribly by like white LGBT people. So we're trans before they actually like were welcomed in. Interesting enough. Like black trans were not like black homosexual and any black homosexual was not allowed within like the LGBTQ anything, like wasn't allowed in the first iterations of it. So which is why I think we actually like I think created our own, like black women created their own, black men created their own, which is why shows like Noah's Ark were groundbreaking. But yeah, ass backwards, yeah. But again, you have to look at like there's some people who think like, oh, if a woman would like when for some reason some people think like, okay, for example, a woman would know another woman suffering, so thus why would you allow the suffering to happen? This was like a question that black women had to white women, not realizing that white women were not fighting for liberation for all women. They were fighting for equal assholeness along with their white males, not to be fucked up by their white male counterparts. They didn't give a good shit about any other woman, right? Like everybody had to work their way up to like being relevant to white people. You know, like black women haven't even gotten that yet. We're still seen as like lower than everything. And then black men get seen as lower than everything. So so that's also why like that would happen too. So and we also have to remember that some people would say that they were those things, like they were trans, and then people would say they weren't because a doctor didn't say that they were. So there are people walking around saying like, you know, I'm in a different body, but people are like, no, you're not, because you haven't been diagnosed and you haven't gone through the process of getting your body transitioning into that. So there's like layers to it. There's like layers of people being scared of like this and that and saying a lot of ignorance going back and forth. So that's also why it's ass backwards, because they also were fucking confused. And again, people just denying things. So because there was a lot of like exclusivity and elitism even in that. Crazy, right? I was holding off buying a RTX 3080 now. I regret it. I know. I was just like, damn it. I should have just built these damn things before. And I was just, oh my gosh. Now I'm like looking through old stuff, trying to see like, okay, do I have anything here? Because I'm not spending the type of money they're talking about in terms of the graphics cards. I'm not doing it. Like, I'm not fucking doing it. Like, Somebody better give me a Christmas gift because it's not happening, you know. And that's even a lot for a damn Christmas gift. Just saying. Snyder Cut is amazing, though. Yeah, people keep telling me, and I was actually going to watch it this weekend. I was actually going to watch it either tonight or tomorrow. I've already seen a little bit. Like, people have already, like, said all these other things that were happening, but I want to watch it still. I still want to see it. There's a lot of great parts. I definitely want to see it for myself, see the difference and how they screw that up. SV Filmer, if you don't mind me asking, is it more difficult dating women? Oh, wait. Ew, my screen. Let me go back. Okay, sorry. Is it more difficult dating women? I've only dealt with guys, so I was just curious. Well, I wouldn't say it's more difficult. I'll put it this way. For me, it's never worked out because the people I was with had issues with themselves and they weren't happy with themselves. There was things that they wish they could change about their life, things that they regretted. And when I dated women, a lot of them were very insecure and they hid it from me. They hid that insecurity from me until like it started getting serious. The last woman I dated, she had 3 kids. Yeah, she had 3 kids. And I had no problem with that. Like, I don't have a problem with kids. I just tell people I don't want to have them. I don't want to have children. I don't want to bring children into a world like this. That's just the ethical thing I'm thinking about. Just ethically, I don't see how I could bring somebody into a world so shitty. But she had children. So, sorry, that was my roommate. But she had children. I had no problem, like, spending time with her. But when we actually got to meet each other, like in person, right? Because we were like long distance dating for a little bit, and we got to meet each other in person. I went to go see her, and she turned weird on me. She got obsessed. She was like, while we were having a date, she was taking pictures of me, right? And sending it to a friend and talking about, oh, she's so attractive. She's so this, she's so that. Oh, is this how they look like when they come from California? Because I flew to North Carolina to see her. And I brought her and her kids gifts and things like that. And there's a whole story behind it. I have to do a whole stream just talking about this particular situation I was in, because actually it was hilarious. A lot of crazy, funny stuff happened. But to sum it up, she didn't believe her own hype. Like, she made herself seem like she was like this confident person. She's taking care of herself. Everything's good. But when she and I would talk, she was not that person. She's completely different. And when I met her, she was even worse. She was even more insecure. She couldn't wait to tell people we were together, which I thought was really weird. I see what other people are seeing. I don't understand why people find me attractive. I'm not saying I think I'm ugly. I don't think that. I just see myself every day. I don't. What is the issue? So, hold on a second. I have some food coming, and I'm waiting for my delivery to. Oh, okay, cool. So it's still coming. All right. Sorry about that. I was waiting for my groceries to be delivered, and I just got to alert my phone. So sorry about that. Real life situations happening. So anyway, yeah. So I'm just a person. So when that was happening, I was just like, you really are insecure, and that is not cool. So in terms of dating women and men, and everybody in between, you start realizing people's insecurities is a huge hindrance. You don't want to feel like you're somebody's like glory. Like you don't want to feel like you're somebody's like, oh, like to be worshipped. You don't want to feel like that. You don't want to feel like um you don't want that codependency thing. They're just you just want to be a person. You just want to enjoy being with that person. And what that whatever that means. Whether it be you all sit down and just like watch movies, y'all like to go work out together, y'all like to have sex, y'all like to do whatever. I think that's cool, and then establishing what you want to do later on if you guys decide you want to stay together. Cool. Dating men and women again, or anybody in between, I've done it all. Honestly, you're gonna have insecurity. It's gonna just show in different ways. It's gonna show in different ways. Um, Most of the women that I've dated were more on the feminine side, not so much on the masculine side. Not saying I wouldn't. It just never happened that way. I just never. I've had sex with plenty of studs. I just saying I've never been in a relationship with one. Um, it just never came up. It just was not angled in that way for it to happen. Um, but again, like it's just everybody has their insecurities, and you have to figure out what you can tolerate, what you can deal with. For me, I couldn't tolerate the majority of the stuff I was going through with most of the people I was dealing with. So, which is why I'm single. So, it just depends on the person. It depends on what their quirks are. So, uh, so I can't say either one is more difficult than the other. You're just dealing with people on an individual base, and you figure out how you can deal with it and what you can tolerate. EAE, I see you've met Angela Davis. Yes, I did. It's amazing how she was a professor at Berkeley at just age 26. Yeah, she's a stunning woman. Like honestly, like she's a stunning woman when you just look at her, right? But she's even more remarkable and amazing when you her story. And then just to be next to her, and talk to her. There were some people who were just too nervous to even touch her. Like there were people who were just too nervous to even like ask her a real question, which is why when one of the students went up and talked to her, which was Alexandria, before she went and talked to her with the mic, because I think 3 people were talking. First of all, Angela Davis handed Alex the mic, and I told her, because I was sitting right next to Alex, I was just like, you better take that mic from Angela Davis, and you don't take no mic from nobody else. Take it from her, because she's on stage. And she leaned over and was like, here you go. And I was just like, you better take that mic. I take that mic. So she took the mic, and before all that interaction happened with taking the mic and everything, we're sitting next to each other, and she's like, I'm gonna ask her a question. And I said, okay, what are you gonna ask her? And she's like, I'm gonna ask her, was it worth it? And I said, you better ask that fucking question. Was it worth it? I was like, because I know I'd be having questions. I said, I know you have questions. Is any of this shit we doing worth it? This bullshit. Often me and the students would talk about, like, is half of the stuff we doing even fucking worth it? Because people were acting like, we ain't doing nothing over here. It's some bullshit. Getting mistreated by Black faculty and staff. them telling people not to work with us, and like us trying to work with people and people just hating all around. Just like, damn, who would have known? I just got here. Why y'all hating on us? Anyway, so she gets the mic. She's like, I'm gonna ask. I'm like, yes, asked. You better fucking ask. So she asked, was it worth it going through all the things you went through and all that stuff? And she hands the mic back to Angela. Sorry, Dr. Angela Davis. And she's like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely, it was worth it. And me and Alex are cracking up, we're laughing, and we're like, giving, all types of, because we understood, like, we went through a lot to even be there. And we knew her journey. We read her stuff. Like, before that even happened, I was asked to come to a reading about the book that she was talking about. And I flat out told them, I said, this book is not for me. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, this book is not catered to someone like me. I come from this environment. She's writing this book for people like y'all white people, like y'all in this room, for people like you. And one of the things that I had said, I was like, yeah, all these statistics, I get it. Like, I get it. Y'all need it for like, y'all write your reports and shit. I get it. I said, I don't really need all this. I know how this stuff is. I said, the statistics just it just amplifies the bullshit. Right? It makes it 10 times worse. You see the numbers play out and like, some people are like, well, the numbers don't lie. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. At the same time, if you live in the culture, you live in the environment, there's no questions here. Like, there's no, we don't understand what's going on, because the book that we were reading was, I think it was To Abolish Prisons or something like that. I have to look at the book again. I'm sorry. But to meet her was so great, and to actually shake her hand and smile and talk to her, and she, her to make jokes and talk with me and allow me to give her a hug and give her a gift. I was just like, no matter what y'all say or do, can't take away from this moment. Like, there was a genuine respect there. You can even see it in the photographs. I took several photographs with this woman, and you could see the respect that I had for her, And the more I read about what she went through, I was just like, all these people don't even have a right to even be here talking to her. I don't even have a right to be here and talking to her, bitch. How all the shit that she went through. Like, all these people don't even deserve to be in her space, in her vicinity. That's how I view her. Not to say like I see her as a deity or anything like that. I'm just saying that there's some people you're like, they're so important that you just give them the respect that they deserve because they've done so much. If I said that Dr. Cornel West, like, if I met Dr. Cornel West, I'd be like ecstatic. I'd be like, oh shit, what's up, dude? I've always wanted to have an interaction with you, Anyway. But yeah, Dr. Angela Davis is fucking brilliant and great with like language, and I wish I was just that great at anything. Anything would be great. Let me see. Where are we at? I see. Okay. Did you used to watch Pokemon? I loved Pokemon. I thought Pokemon was fantastic. I thought Pokemon was actually Pokemon was one of my favorite shows. Yeah, Pokemon was one of my favorite shows. Oh shoot, they're like asking me for things. Sorry, hold on, you guys. Oh shoot, sorry. Instacart. I'm like I said, I was getting groceries because I was feeling lazy. I didn't want to go outside amongst the people who aren't wearing masks. I didn't feel like catching anything today, so I decided just to order in. Yes, I love Pokemon. Yes, I even had like I have the cards and everything, bitch. Okay. Going to EAE, going to start a little controversy with this one. The P's want to now be included within the LGBT community, and they are like, hell nah. The P's? What do you mean? Were you coding for me? I'm sorry, I'm a little lost. Explain that one to me. I'm so sorry, I'm a little lost. I apologize. Have you seen Batman, the animated series? Yes, which one? There's several. I personally like Batman and Beyond with Terry McGinnis. Told you when they do the splicing. I would love to be in this place where they do the splicing. You can just be a cat. You can be a lizard. I definitely would try to be a cat or something. I don't know how good the flying splicing was, but the cat situation looks fantastic. Ms.KellyDozier's smile is ridiculous. You could hypnotize people with it. I guess what you want to say. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it. I appreciate that. I got you. I figured it out. EAE, I would have asked her, Angela Davis, about Greg Jackson. What? You mean the guy who killed the judge? Was it him? No, it wasn't. It was the Soledad brothers, right? The Soledad? No, or was it? I couldn't remember. The Soledad brothers were the ones that were on trial. And then I think the brother got killed, and then another person got killed, and I think a judge and I think a cop got killed or something like that. I have to look back at that information. And the reason why she was actually, we're gonna have her on death row. They were gonna kill her, Dr. Angela Davis, because she owned the gun. Like they had the gun that she owned, so they were saying, oh, she had something to do with it. So they were gonna kill her, and then they had to fight to get the charges dropped from death penalty. And then she talked about her time that she stayed in solitary confinement because, Ronald Reagan was like, I want to punish you real bad, so throw her in prison for a year. And then, like I said, she was like in a psychiatric thing, and then she talked about the abuse that was happening in prison as well. Really, like crazy. Oh yeah, super petty. Yeah. Japan 96. I wish you could bring back your old videos. What old videos are you referring to? Because there's some videos I don't have anymore. Like, there were some videos where I was like literally like dancing and like, I was like and stuff. And I don't think I have those anymore. I'd probably plan over Michael Jackson or Prince. That's about it. Yeah. Honestly, Michael Jackson, if I met Michael Jackson, I'd be like, oh shit, that's Michael. Like, cool. Nice to meet you. Awesome. Prince, same thing. I'd be like, Prince? Holy shit. Nice to meet you, Prince. What's going on, dog? Nah, I wouldn't fangirl. Like, I remember people who have met like Janet Jackson's dancers, like her main friend, what's his name? He does all the Hawaiian dances and stuff, but he's been her dancer forever now. I met him. I didn't fangirl. Like, he's famous as fuck. I just was like, what's up, man? Nice to meet you, And he was shorter than I thought. He was like actually smaller than I thought. And I was like, oh. Imagine that. You don't put people on the pedestal. They look the same height as everybody else. Let me see. Would love to meet. Oh yeah, Neil. Yeah, he's the science guy. I would love to talk to him because he always seems excited about like everything. He always seems excited about his subject. So I would love to. I would love to meet him just to talk about the thing that he likes to talk about. Because I feel like we could talk for hours, and I always have more questions because I just don't know enough about it. So yes, I am. What kind of like they were supposed to deliver like hours ago, but I guess they're short. I suppose. Are you on my Instagram? Send me your thing on my Instagram. Oh, okay. His little brother killed the judge, right? Okay. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. They didn't want to be fucked with no more. Essentially, fucking hate this place. Nice, they saying shit. Did y'all hear about what happened in the Capitol? Sorry, we're going on a completely different topic. We were talking about internalized homophobia tonight. Clearly, we've delved into something else, but this typically happens on this channel. Just so y'all know, we always get back to the subject. She and her dating while he was in jail. I have no idea how that worked though. If I hate to put this, I hate to put it this way, but I'm gonna say it. If Dr. Angela Davis wanted me to hang out with her and talk and smoke weed and kick it at her place, and if something occurred, I would totally be down for it. Fuck what y'all have to say. Sorry. She's a bad bitch. And I think that she would respect that too. I think she would respect my honesty. Michael Jackson is the only man to make 45-year-old white men faint. You're funny. There will never be another. I was trying to tell somebody this the other day too about the verses, and I said there will never be a Michael Jackson verses. Never. It's never gonna happen. There will never be a Michael Jackson versus because how disrespectful are you? Like how there'll never be a Prince versus how disrespectful are you? There'll never be a Stevie Wonder versus because who would ever disrespect the prophet? Who would? Just saying. EAE. Hope for your lungs' sake, you're puffing on some green, not tobacco. I don't smoke tobacco. All I smoke is Kush. California's finest. All I smoke is Kush. Because what? Marijuana is not carcinogenic, meaning it does not cause cancer. Why in the world would I smoke tobacco? No, thank you. I would have to be really upset to smoke tobacco. I'd have to be really down and out. But you can tell the difference when you smoke Kush opposed to smoking tobacco, because immediately you can't breathe with tobacco. When you're smoking clean Kush, yeah, you get a little choked up, but you're good. You know, I'm saying be careful, children. Yeah, I mean, don't mean no children. I mean, just don't. Just be careful if you're doing it recreationally. Okay. You get my point. You get me. You get where I'm going at. Okay, cool. We feel the same way about you as you do, Angela. That scenario, bro. Well, I think you're very kind. Please do not tempt me. I do not like to be tempted, okay? If I get tempted, I might do something I'm not supposed to. Just joking. Not really. Not really, but joking. That Batman animated series from 1992. Yeah, I love that one. That Joker was bomb in that one. He was really like well animated. I like that. I like that one though. I used to watch that all the time. It was one of my favorite ones. I finally looked at the history of X-Men and like why the X-Men series would like jump back and forth to certain spots. And it's because they're like all over the place. So I was just like, I no wonder that series was always like a little scattered. My therapist said he'd help me get a medical marijuana card for my anxiety. Good. That's good. It'll definitely help. Yes, yes, yes. I don't know where you stay, EAE. In some places, there's recreational. In California, it is. And also, like, medical. I have a medical one. Just don't get fucked with. It's like I have a medical one. Just so, like, I don't get fucked with. Leave me alone. But yeah, it's helped a lot with pain. That's mainly what I use it for is pain. Like physical pain can be really tough, especially with lupus. Like it can be really, really hard to deal with. And then sometimes it's even hard to eat because sometimes you're just in pain. You're just like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to lay here and sleep. So sometimes that will help too. So doing smoking will help, like eat. I actually recommended that to bodybuilders. I said, if you're having a hard time cramming all that food down because you're just like, I can't eat no more, but you have to get the calories in, and you've done everything, like you've done those movies, like try smoking some weed. And I said, only if you can. Don't. I'm not no doctor or nothing, but it's been known to help stimulate your appetite. Just saying. Don't take my word for it. I'm just saying this is what the science says. It stimulates your appetite. It's been known to help with people with cancer who cannot eat anything. It stimulates their appetite and also helps with nausea. I have not bought weed in like 10 years. I don't even know where to buy it in 2021. Good question. I say look at Weed Maps. Apparently is the best to look at. Oh shit, my delivery's going to be here in just a little bit. Let's see if you're going to call me. You're going to call me? Call me. Baby. Let me see if I can pull up an archive for y'all. I'm gonna see if I can pull up an archive video. So I don't know how long have you all been on this channel. Let's see if I can pull it up, because what I want to show you, just waiting for this delivery guy. I don't even know if my light's on. Let me see if my light's on. I'm gonna pull up the one where I think I was talking about pansexuality. I was looking for it earlier, for some reason I could not find it, but that's possibly just because I'm just a nerd and I misplace everything. Let's see. Did I delete it? I don't think I did. Oh, there's that video I wanted to show you, gamer, about the protein powder that I did a review on. I think I did the review about 3 years ago. The brand is still around. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? You know what? I don't think I have the videos here anymore. I think I might have deleted them. My bad. Let me see if I can try to pull up another. There was a video a long time ago where I talked about this guy who he was transitioning, right? And everybody like hated him for transitioning. They called him like a freak and stuff like that. And I talked about it because it bothered me because again, I always felt like I was misplaced. Like I never felt comfortable in my own skin. I never felt like good about myself in a way that would make people like, be interested or whatever in anything I had to say or whatever. And so when I saw that, I did a video because I was just like, oh man, you don't treat your family like that. You don't tell somebody that's, clearly going through something that, something's wrong with them, that there's like a huge problem. So I'm trying to find the video and I can't find the video, bitch. It's okay. It's okay. Lupus sucks. My cousin has it, and my favorite producer, Jay Dill, died from it. Yes. Yeah, lupus is no joke. And there's different types of lupus, too. So I wonder which one they have. Out for delivery. Oh, I think they're coming out to the door. Hold on a second. I'm going to pull this up and share this screen with you. I'm going to play some audio from another video.
Honest and loving. All the right things for me is difficult. I want
Oh, there it is, y'all. Told you. Hold on.
ended up adopting.
Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Y'all you hear the guy, he's like, yeah, Kelly. And I was like, yes, this is Kelly. He's like, I got your food for you. Thank you. I can't wait to dive in. Let me show you what I got. I got all types of nonsense here in terms of snacks. I got my Cheez-Its. Sorry about that. Yeah. Sorry. I have to switch out my camera. Hold on a second, y'all. What'd you say? My old weed guy name was Sel. I just want to. That's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, switch out this thing real quick, y'all. I got my snacks though, which is what I've been waiting for, really. hate to say it, but I'm definitely a snack girl. My old flex video. Oh, let me show you to you. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let me show it to you while I'll get the other camera working again. Sorry, I kind of like stopped for a moment. Let me share my screen. Hold up. Let me share my screen. Let's see if I can try to show you. How? So flex on that bitch. Flex on that hoe. Flex on that. Flex, 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 flex. I think I flexed. I think it was this video. Where was it? Here it was. A quick update. I think this is a classic. I think I definitely made this one private.
Hey out there, YouTube. Hope you can hear me. Still trying to figure out this camera thing. You were wanting me to flex my biceps.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Sorry, hold on.
Still working on my weight loss. I haven't reached my goal yet. My goal is 150. I'm getting there though. I'm at 169 right now.
There you go. There's free, just for you.
I don't know if I'm going to make that goal before the year's over, but I still have it. Excuse me, I'm getting ready to bed, so I don't fraud. Okay, so let's see, but yes,
Yes, yes, yes. Flex for that. Flex it. Flex that. Flex for that ass. Flex it. Flex for that ass. Flex it. Okay, let me try to switch out my camera. Cool. All right. Sorry about that. There we go. Sorry. Cool. Back up. I do. I ordered a whole bunch of stuff. Excuse me, I didn't finish. Okay. It freaks me out watching old videos of myself. I keep forgetting I just sometimes, yeah, sometimes watching old videos of yourself is kind of cringy. Yeah, I know. When I was watching a video of myself, I said, wow. First of all, the lighting was awful in that room. It definitely made me look like it would like whited me out. You know what I mean? Like the closer you get to the light, like the brighter it is. So there's just the lighting in that was just terrible. But I was also very small. I was not eating properly. It was not healthy. Um, I don't think I have. Have I? Mm-mm. Would you date your old self or run away? Would I date my old self or would I run away? Uh, probably. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, knowing what I know now, knowing what I know now, I don't know. I don't know. Hold on. I gotta put this. I got some ice too. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding. I got like a whole bag of ice. I gotta go throw that away. Not throw it away, but put it away. Hold on. All right. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay, real time action happening in the background. Okay, so anyway, I got to the bullshit that I'm eating. Okay, because I was not planning on going to bed anytime soon today. Uh, so what I got is this. I got some donuts, powdered donuts. Why do I have powdered donuts? I did not want these originally. What I wanted was like these really delicious glazed baked donuts that they have at the store. And I have coffee here, so I was gonna like be dunking and eating and smoking at the same time, bitch, because I like donuts. I got these ginger snaps, like these joints right here. This is what you need when you got your like your milk or your soy milk, whatever. You dunk that bitch in there, you eat that bitch. That god damn it. They said I got some coffee. I got some caramel flavored coffee. This is the only kind they had. I'm not promoting them. This is the kind they had. I got some chocolate, dark chocolate. Yes. So I got all types of bullshit. I think loving yourself is weird. I know people say you should love yourself, but the concept itself makes no sense. Well, I guess it depends on who you're asking. I mean, people say they love themselves for a lot of reasons. Some people simply care about their well-being, you know. And if the word love fits there, then it fits. But some people just care about their well-being and they do what they got to do, you know. How can I contact you? Well, I have an email, Ms.KellyDozier at gmail.com. You go to the homepage. It's in the description box, I guess is what it's called, in the homepage. All my information's on there. You can reach me. But I also can be reached on Instagram. But again, you have to send me a message. My Instagram is private, only because, I've given so much of myself for so long. Because I gotta be a little dramatic. I've given myself so much to people. And I've been learning how to do boundaries. I've been learning to shift that. More of my thoughts private to a select group of people I choose to share with. That's how you can get a hold of me. Back to the story at hand. Sorry, we had a little bit of an intermission with some of the questions and things I was being asked. But again, get your snacks and things. I'm going to have that coffee that I made in there. I have to go grab that real quick. I'm gonna have some donut and some donuts and some ginger snaps while we finish talking about this. Let me go grab my shit real quick. Grab my shit real quick. I gotta make some for my roommate. I forgot. So I need to go put one of these in there. Let me see. What are y'all talking about in here? But seriously, if you clone yourself, do you think you could fall in love with yourself, or would it be weird? Oh, the things you all ask. I don't know. Couldn't say. Like I said, I don't find myself particularly attractive in terms of looks. In terms of intelligence, I don't think I'm the smartest person, right? Again, I don't think I'm stupid or anything like that. So I wouldn't be the first person that would come to mind if I was want to date somebody. I'd want to date somebody who's probably good or excellent at something. I just wouldn't think. I wouldn't think oh, I want to date me. I wouldn't think that at all. So apologize for the sci-fi questions. No, it's fine. No problem. But to say, would I date myself? I couldn't say. I'm not the first person I think of when I want to date somebody. It's just not the first thing I think of. I think of all the things that I'm not good at, I think probably first. And would I want that person I'm with to be strong in those things? Pick up the slack where I couldn't succeed. That have capacity for it. I think that's probably what I would look for. Something that I would love to see in myself, but can't accomplish it because I just don't have the ability. I don't know, maybe dating somebody who was really great with math or something. I'm not the best at math. I'm not a mathematician. I'm not going to school. I'm not going to school for mathematics. It's not something that maybe if I practiced it, I probably could be good at it, but maybe I would seek somebody who was really stable with finances, maybe, or somebody who was really stable with, or really great with talking to people, or just something about them was excellent. I can't really say that there's anything about me that jumps out that I say I would date that person. maybe having a sense of humor. Maybe the fact I have a sense of humor might be a thing, but I couldn't say. I'm sorry. EAE. Would you feel particularly would I feel that to look out for my clown? Well, why would I want to help my clown? Why wouldn't I want to help my clown? If your family like people have twins. Twins help each other. Some people say actually scientists were saying that twins think on a similar level, like their brain frequencies are similar, like when something's happening. I had to pull up that study. I'm gonna pull that study up. So I think I would help my twin, my clone. Why wouldn't I help my clone? I help people I don't even know. So why wouldn't I help something or a thing that looked like me? Why would I not? Gamer. A clone would basically be your identical twin. Exactly. So I don't see why would I diss my clone? I don't. Neuralink, yeah, it's something like that. But it's a real thing. I thought it was funny when I first saw it. I had to pull it up. I'll pull that up. But yeah, I would definitely help my clone. Like for example, if we're gonna go back to the subject, right? We're talking about internalized homophobia. I would definitely help my clone. I would talk to my clone and be like, look, all this other bullshit people talking about is a bullshit. And then it just breaks shit down all the way. So I would have to go through all those confusing times that I went through. Confusing times of dealing with people and having dating men, thinking that you were some kind of I've dated people where they thought I was some kind of freak because of the fact that I didn't have this specific gender specific identity, or sexuality. And I was just like, yeah, no, I'm not a freak. I mean, I am, but I'm not a freak because of that. It's about there's just differences. We're so disconnected from ourselves. We're so disconnected with sexuality. We're so disconnected from everything. We've been so disconnected from life because we've been so beaten down with we have to go to work every day and all this other stuff. So all these social constructs we've been beaten down with, and it's time to do a restart. So yeah, anyway. This hypothetical twin doesn't just look like you, but shares your memories and traits. Basically, you outside of you. I would definitely help them, but if they think like me, how much help do I need to give them? We have the same thoughts. I guess we want to bounce ideas off each other and be a whole soundboard to each other. I guess that'd be fine because we could always relate. We always know what's going on. We always have somebody to talk to. But at the same time, again, it just be an echo chamber. I feel. Wouldn't that just be an echo chamber? Like how you have your group of friends and they all kind of think similarly. Well, hopefully you don't have that, but most people do. I feel like it'd be an echo chamber. But I definitely would want to help myself. I mean, it'd actually be great because then I could take a day off from work. They could go to work. I take a day off from work. They go to work. I could write a paper. They could write a paper. We could rest. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. Yeah. So, but I would definitely help my twin clone. especially with a situation like dealing with sexuality. It's the confusing times you deal with people in relationships. I was fortunate, again, in a lot of ways, that there were people in my life that were close to me that like cared about me and cared about me and didn't care about what I wanted to do sexually with someone else, in terms of, gay, straight, or whatever. Um, I was fortunate to have people in my life who loved me regardless. EAE says, so I wouldn't make her your your personal slave, and make her take out the trash. So I wouldn't make her your personal slave and make her take out the trash. No, we share the same ideas, then we probably would come to the same conclusion, and we probably look at each other and be like, why don't we help each other out? Yeah, sure. I'll take this day. You take this day. Cool. You don't want to do anything? Perfect. Cool. It'd be an echo chamber. We'd be so agreeable, I think. And we have the same thoughts and the same traits. We would be highly agreeable. It'd be like Lemon Grab from Adventure Time. Lemon Grab was like, she had to make a whole bunch of other lemon grabs so that he can like be happy. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. Yeah. So it'd be like lemon grab. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Unacceptable. If you don't know anything about Adventure Time, I don't know what you were doing for the past couple of years. I don't know what you were doing. Sorry. Adventure Time is boss. I haven't watched the new stuff. Like I haven't watched the BMO thing on like HBO Max. I don't have HBO Max. I don't know. So I was watching some old stuff this time. Well, speaking of the older, maybe not older, but around that same generation of cartoons, they delve into internalized homophobia kind of on Steven Universe. They kind of delve with that a little bit because there's like gay relationships on there, even though I don't think they're considered gay because they're like gems. But anyway, or weren't the people who created it part of the LGBTQ community or something? EAE, who would win in a fight? I think both would decide that it's not a good idea after the first couple like little tussles. We both would be like, you know what? We know what each other's gonna do, so it's not really gonna like. All we could do is kill each other. Like we couldn't outbest each other. We probably wouldn't kill each other. I told you we probably come to the conclusion and be like, this is not gonna work out this way. We do better off cooperating than like fighting. Do you do video chats? Aren't I doing a video chat right now? Aren't we chatting right now? Do I do video chats? I have. If there wasn't a stigma behind like certain like online chatting things, like sexual things, I think I would totally do that stuff. But unfortunately, there's such a stigma. People would talk about you. Oh my gosh, you were like popping your ass on camera. Be like, it's the safest place for me to pop my ass. I'm not in a club where I can be touched inappropriately. I'm not around people who smell strange and might throw up because they had too much to drink. I can throw it back in my house and people can watch me and we all have a wonderful time. Just saying, I don't see a problem with people doing this. Princess Bubblegum. Yes, I like Princess Bubblegum. I'll be right back. I'm more of a Rick and Morty. Well, yeah, of course. Like, who wouldn't? Wallbanger 1982. That is always important to have a support. A lot of us don't have that. I'm dealing with sexuality. Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. I'm back. Welcome back, by the way. Oh my, OMG, have you watched WandaVision? That's exactly how a battle ended in the show. No, I have not watched WandaVision. People keep telling me, oh, it's so good, it's so good. I have not watched it. I've literally been doing other things. I told you I was having fatigue. I was having superhero fatigue. Excuse me, I'm trying to, you don't hear that bag opening, but damn it, it's happening. Until I started watching The Boys, I started like getting back into the comic stuff again because I was just exhausted with their creative license and how they just are brutalizing some of these comics. So one stop. I enjoyed the Boys more because it was like a darker um, comic, which I like. Oh yeah, but one of the things that also helped with like internalized homophobia coming out of that was like, it's gonna sound funny, but like playing video games helped a lot. Because there were a lot of people who came from that community who, interesting enough, again, like I guess I was just kind of fortunate, but people who were playing video games, there were like all types of people, and you get to meet people who were part of the LGBT community who were also a part of the gaming community. So that helped a lot, like with understanding it better and the anxiety of like dealing with having these feelings of these sexual feelings for the same group. So video games helped a lot for me. I can't really speak for other people, but for me, it helped a lot. Mainly because I don't know. When I was growing up, there weren't a whole lot of like there weren't a lot of kids in like our situation with our parents, and we didn't have a lot of friends that grew up like us. So some reason we always ended up around people who were like a part of like the what's the word, like the odd group, like the odd kids, you know what I mean? And usually the odd kids were like the skaters, the gothic kids, the nerds, the dweebs. Like we weren't cool. We were like kind of like the misfits. Um, someone called them, my roommate called them merry band of misfits. And a lot of times that'd be like the anime people and like video game people. So, and sure enough, also the LGBTQ and also um, people who had like a disability. So it was like everybody who was like the discarded people became like real cool. And video games was one of those things that kind of linked us. But again, I was like in a lucky situation though. That's not always the case. So video games helped me a lot with connecting to different people and like just understanding different ways of life and different ways that people grew up, and not feeling like it's so weird or strange or anything. So I was trying to think if there were any shows that were on for women, Black women, or other women of color. I hate that term, by the way, but just Black. We'll just say Black people. Where it was strictly like about homosexual relationships. I don't think there ever was like a big mainstream show except for the L Word. What's my opinion on cancel culture? What is my opinion? Well, in terms of cancel culture, when someone says they're canceling something, where did that derive from? Where did that come from? Like, where did that come from? Where did we're going to cancel this come from? Where did that idea derive from? Let's start there. Because I think that will tell a lot about whether or not it's a good thing or it's a bad thing or whatever. Because I think it's kind of changed. I think canceling things has changed into this idea of a culture. What does the word what does it mean to say this is a cancel culture? Let me pull this up because I feel like when I first heard the term cancel culture, I was like, well, what does that mean exactly? Because people cancel stuff all the time. All right, I'm gonna show you the definition of what cancel culture is. Let me show you this. Sorry if it's a little delay. I apologize. Cancel culture refers to the hold on. Let's see if I can pull that up. Is it up? Oh, okay, go. Okay, cancel culture refers to the popular practice of withdrawing support for canceling public figures and companies after they have done or said something considered objectionable or offensive. Cancel culture is generally discussed as being performed on social media in the form of group shaming. So, in terms of this cancel culture, first of all, public shaming has been happening since like forever. It's been happening for a while. A lot of times people used to shame the rich for not doing the right thing to help people. Shaming was pretty normal. It was a pretty normal function. So cancel culture, if we're reading it we're going by the pure definition of it, is withdrawing your support. And then you want to publicly shame people for doing what they've done. It's on social media, which makes sense. So social media is social. It's people interacting on a digital platform, right? There are real people on the internet, like y'all asking questions in the chat. You're real people. They're just here watching a show that I'm putting together. Some people are interested in the things I have to say. Some people are interested in the topics, you know. So we're all people here interacting, and we are exchanging in some kind of social situation, right? So we're having a chat, we're having a conversation. And it's a dynamic platform because we can talk in the chat box. You can come on the stream. You can call. We can talk like through video conversation. And so with cancel culture, it's just being a social media way of like telling somebody, you know, fuck you for what you did. I don't see a problem with it. Shaming things is not an issue. You know, it was a reasonable form of protest for a long time, you know, to shame somebody for doing something bad. I think they even use it in the church, like they'll shame somebody for doing something. So again, I can't really say that I think that this is a bad thing. But at the same time, I think how people use cancel culture isn't, I don't know if it really means what this is saying. Like, do people really withdraw their support? Do they really like come out and like shame these people? Is it only limited to social media? And then when it comes to real world interactions, they don't do anything? I don't know. I mean, people say that online bullying is a thing when you can literally like turn your computer off. You don't even have to look at what people say. It would only be bullying if you went to school with those people and they're doing the same thing outside. So they're, you know, they're following you online and they're messing with you here in person. So okay, Bill Clinton would have been canceled if he went through. Yeah, I agree. Well, I don't know. These same people brought on Joe Biden. Nobody canceled him. Nobody. As a matter of fact, they didn't cancel him. They brought him on full time, and he was known for like doing terrible shit to women. So I don't know. Different standards for different people. They are both old white men. So okay, let's see. I feel like if any of my thoughts and opinions as a teenager were audio clipped, I'd probably be canceled by dozens of groups. However, I'm no longer that person. Well, you're also a teenager. What do teenagers know? You know, not to say they don't know anything. I'm not saying that. Please don't get offended if you're a teenager. I'm just simply saying that when you get older, you realize you know nothing. And there's so much more to know. And the little bit that we know, we still don't know enough. That's all I mean. And so yeah, people can change, people can grow, but at the same time, who are we talking about and what context are we talking? I'm not. Bill Clinton was not a good dude. He did a lot of terrible shit. I don't know why people say he was a good dude. I don't know why people like revisionist history up and through this bitch. So it's ridiculous to cancel someone for what they once said and ignore how they think today. Again, context matters, and there's a history with words. There's a interpersonal relationship that we have with words. I'm quoting Seren Sensei. There's an interpersonal relationship that we have with words. And so there's some words that you can say back then that can still sting today because they have a historical context to it. So, like the F word, meaning FAG, that has a historical negative context, even though people in the LGBT community will use it on each other, but they have an interpersonal relationship with that word where they can take the context of it and take the poison out of it. Same thing with the idea of the N word being the poison being sucked out of it and then change into something that is meant to be something redeeming. Some people disagree. Some people will fight the idea either way. That is the going theory behind that. So I think that there's historical nature to it. You can't just say because someone said something that they no longer have to apologize for the thing they said. Yeah, yes, you do. Unfortunately, and fortunately. I'm sure there's things that I've said that, like, I look back and I'm like, why did I say it that way? Why did I say that? Just because you have a voice doesn't necessarily. I've said this before to people. Like, people say, "Oh, I'm entitled to my opinion." And I'm like, sure. You may not be entitled to say it out loud, though. You might be wrong, like super wrong, like super duper wrong, super wrong, loud and wrong, and then wrong, loud and wrong. So, yeah. Lawmaker 1982. Excommunication is what the churches do. Yes. Exactly. Excommunication. Yep. Yeah. So you make a great point here, Wallbanger 1982. Churches will literally cut you off. Excommunication, or in John Wick, excommunicado. You've been excommunicado. You've been cut off. You've been canceled. What do you mean, EAE? Have you never gotten a subscription before? You never gone to the store before? They've canceled some shit on you. Cancel. Wait, let me go up to your thing. The cancel culture. Okay. Cancel culture has been happening since the transaction of goods. These corporations been had cancel culture on your ass. What you talking about? I can tell you all the ways they perform cancel culture on your ass. Actually, perform jobs. Your job, any job you've ever worked at, they love to perform cancel culture on your ass and no longer affiliate with your ass no more. Just saying. So, Wallbanger, you make a valid point. Excommunicado. Excommunication. So, people were doing this to people who, think about what, if you think of it at a deeper level, internalized homophobia is like the idea of like canceling yourself out, being like, okay, I just cancel myself. I hate myself. I'm just not even gonna address who I am. I'm not even gonna address who I am. I'm just gonna pretend like I'm somebody else. That person that I'm inside, I'm just canceling that person. That person doesn't exist. Not there. You couldn't do it. Somehow that homo came out. It came out for me, so that's how I feel about it. For me, it was always there. For me, it was always present. For me, it was always there. So when people ask me, I'm just like, yeah, for a while I had like an internalized like homophobia for myself because of how people treated people who were like me, how certain family members treated me, you know, how society treated me. And for a long time, I had to fight with the idea of how do I translate who I am to other people without being like severely judged. And it just wasn't working. So I decided just to be me and never put myself in dangerous ass situations. Never put myself in dangerous ass situations. So that, you know, I can live my good gay life. So yeah, the cancel culture. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, you know. But everybody's doing that shit. EAE. It might be it might just be because I'm all Buddha out on myself these days, but I'm not a fan of canceling people. Mm. People cancel you all day long. What you talking about? People dismiss you all day long. You're not a fan of canceling people. Well, there are some people you need to cut out of your life because there are people who are toxic. You cannot front. You cannot lie. We all know there are toxic people. Let me get my coffee real quick, okay, y'all? Hold on just a second. You know, there damn well there are people in your life. You know damn well there are people in your life that you have to cut off. Let's not just not play like we don't know now. Come on. There are people who will feel like that internalized like homophobia, and you have to cut those people off because those kind of people will drive you to like committing suicide. No lie. There are people you have to cut off and cancel. There's situations you have to leave. There's certain situation where you just have to get the fuck out of there. There's certain people you don't have to deal with no more because they can cause like narcissists. Perfect example. When I come back, we'll talk about that narcissists and how narcissists can like really fuel like a lot of like hateful and harmful things to yourself, especially when you're dealing with like fighting your sexuality and stuff. Yeah, you definitely want to cancel those kind of people. Okay, what was the question? SP Filmer says, how do you get over internalized homophobia? A family member of mine says, when I talk about women sexually, I get disgusted with myself afterwards. Hmm. Well, some of the things that helped me was definitely talking to people about it. That was one of the things. You know, finding groups of people that were going through the things I was going through. You know, talking to people. Like one of the things that helped me, like I always tell people, like one of the things that kind of like saved my life was getting in front of a camera and talking and just talking about things that were bothering me. And I wasn't really talking to anybody. I was just talking to get it out, and realizing that that's like a form of therapy, like getting out, just talking, and then searching and researching to figure out like, well, what's the issue? What's the what's really going on? You know, what's going on? You know, and for me, it was interactions with other people. I had a lot of positive interactions. And even when I had bad ones, I took them for what they were, right? And I learned from them. Yeah, it's easier said than done, I suppose. Um, I just have an active mind and an active imagination. So some of the concepts for like healing came easier. Um, some things were harder. Some things were a struggle. All the things that I wanted to talk to people about, I couldn't share with certain family members. Like I couldn't have conversations with them. You know, I had to find another outlet. You know, I had to find another outlet. I had to find people who would get me, you know, and help me understand how I was feeling. Um, one of the things that I joined, I remember vividly, I actively was looking for like specifically like Black women going through like, you know, gay relationships or whatever. And I came across a couple groups online, met a couple people who talked, not like sexual or anything. We just talking, having conversation, and some of the things that they went through. And I was able to um, deal with some of the stuff that bothered me, some of the things that I was uncomfortable talking about, because I felt bad about sharing, you know. Gamer. Toxic people in them the game chats, exactly. They do be. They do, that's true. That's true. Sometimes it'd be real toxic. You're absolutely right. Doing this with ya is a big help. It has been a struggle. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad this has been helpful. Yeah, I mean, um, that's the whole point, though. That's the whole point of these things. This is talk about, you know, tough subjects and kind of like work through it. Um, I mean, if you had a therapist, it would. I couldn't say it'd be just like this, but I've been through plenty of therapy sessions where pretty much you're talking and they're like, okay, be honest, whatever. Like, I'm not a therapist. Like, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I've been through enough that it's pretty like the same. Like, they're pretty like, at least the ones I went to. I can't say I haven't been to all. I can't classify all of them this way. Um, but yeah, it's like, oh, you know, yeah, okay, you know, and more of you talking than them. Um, but having these kind of dialogues, having these kind of conversations are always good, especially when you can have them in a situation where you like you feel comfortable. Because I always think this is so interesting. I mean, even though we're live, right, and live is like live to YouTube, right, but it's a comfortable niche space. Like you're not gonna feel rushed. You're not gonna feel, you know, even though I always say like, oh, I want to like keep the conversations down to a certain time period, but I even say that a lot of these can go on for a longer time than, you know, I even scheduled for, just mainly because some people need more. Sometimes some topics need more depth. I might be able to only go for like 2 hours and have to like re-up again, you know, kind of like, well, I don't want to make that reference. Never mind. I don't want to make that reference. Never mind. But yeah, sometimes you have to like re-up on the conversation again because it got so good and juicy, and then you have to come back and talk about it again. You know. So yeah, the fact that this is a big help, I'm glad. But I was losing my mind being bisexual. Not at all. Not at all. Um, you do feel that way though. You're like, what do I like? I'm like, am I a whore? Am I a slut? And you're just like, I might be a little bit, but damn it, it's not like that. No, I'm just kidding. That's just me. I'm just talking for myself, not for you. I'm just talking shit. Um, I know that some people were like, some people would tell me like, "Oh, greedy." That's one of the things they'd say, like, "Oh, you're bisexual, you're pansexual," and also that's very different. Bisexual and pansexual are not the same; they're very different. But people who are, bisexual, people would say, "Oh, you're like a sexual deviant. You want everything," and I'm just like, that's not the case. That's a gross misunderstanding. Excuse me, how ignorant can you be? Go sit over there. How ignorant can you be? EAE, what's your type of religion? I'm not religious. I don't know how many times I gotta say this. I told you I am not religious. Um, Everybody got their religion. Respect your religion. You know what I mean? Um, I just don't have to be. I don't have to partake. I'm cool over here. I'm good. I'm just living life. Um, I tend to gravitate towards. I tend to gravitate towards. I kind of like the principles of Buddhism, but I am not a Buddhist. Mm-hmm. Then done that. Wallbanger. That's true. That's very true. That's very true. That's very true. How does that make you feel, Wallbanger? Like, I mean, you said the whole plague thing, but like, how does that make you feel, though? Yeah, I didn't realize that was rare. I did not realize that was rare. EAE. Do you realize you are a non-religious Black woman and how rare that is? I didn't realize it was. I didn't realize it was rare. Isolated times. Isolated. Hmm. You feel alone. I get that. Oh, you can definitely feel lonely when you feel like nobody's. Well, especially when they feel like they try to make you feel like something's wrong with you, like you have like a disease or something. I had a friend recently go through something similar, um, where they had like caught something, and they're like, "Oh, no one's gonna like love me." And I'm like, "No, I'm sure there'll be somebody who love you. Like you're lovable, you know." So, oh hey, Book of Rhymes, I just saw your comment. Welcome, Book of Rhymes. But they actually found somebody relatively quickly. They found someone who loved them, even though they had a disease. So I even think that comment you made was kind of funny, like interesting. You know, to feel isolated. I'm gonna tell you like this. It's definitely hard, but then you start appreciating, you know, loving yourself and taking care of yourself. You start to appreciate your, at least that's how I viewed it. You know, I started to appreciate, um, you know, time by myself. But in terms of feeling isolated, I understand what you mean. That's very painful. Like isolation is, you know, we're social creatures. You know, there's only so much isolation that we can take, and we feel isolated, like in terms of like relationships. I mean, you do feel, especially a society like this, a society that kind of demonizes, and I think Soren talked about this in her last stream, a society that, you know, kind of demonizes people who are single, who are isolated. So you feel doubly, you know, uncomfortable. So I understand that. You feel twice as, you know, alienated. And I get that. It's definitely a difficult, um, definitely a difficult situation to be in, especially being a male, because males have to, well, not have to, but males have like this. Society gives males this perspective of being like, you know, you don't show any pain, you don't show any emotion, um, very stoic, which the word stoic is criminally like horribly used for men, because to be stoic and emotionless is not a good thing. Um, so you're supposed to portray this strong person on the outside, and the inside you're like feeling like you're by yourself, alone, lonely. Which is why I also kind of speculate that a lot of, like, I hate to put it to this point, but I think I mentioned this before, that, you know, some men have this feeling of such depression that they have like some of the highest cases of suicide because of that, because of feeling isolation and not being able to say it, which makes them even feel even more isolated, you know, and alienated. So I can only imagine for a man that, you know, is not a straight cis male, you know, I can imagine that'd be difficult. Book of Rhymes are not religious. Say, EAE. As bad as the homicide numbers are each year, the suicide rate is also higher, which is scary. Yes, exactly. Exactly what I was saying. Exactly. Because there's a lot of, like, you know, people are dealing with a lot of pressure. I was actually looking up a place that has actually a very high suicide rate, which is Japan. Japan has a huge suicide rate because they have like they have the honorable death suicides, so they have that. Um, a lot of times the men are doing more because they're under such pressure and they're not getting what they need and stuff like that. Um, Very interesting, and they're talking about how it went up because of COVID. And I'm like, well, yeah, of course it did. Because people were out of work, and then also the added pressure is already in society. So, and they have a culture of honorable suicides. So, wallbanger nation too. Can't show any feelings like a robot. Yeah. So stoic. Yeah, exactly. It's not healthy. But again, this society kind of creates this type of situation, which is not healthy. EAE, men aren't getting laid in Japan. Yeah, that's one of the issues, but there's also pressures of society. Often in history, when men have a lot of pressure to provide, they often go through a lot of these types of things. Suicide rate has gone up for everybody though during COVID. I found very interesting. I didn't even know how big the suicide rate was for youth. Youth went up too, especially youth of black uh, uh, leniency have gone up. And in the US also, yes. What are your thoughts on well, what are my thoughts? I don't know. I wasn't really prepared. I wasn't really prepared to. I wasn't really prepared. Let me think about it. I'll come back to it. Let me think. Give me a moment. But let's go back to. Give me a moment. I'll come back to it. Let me think about it for a moment. Well, that's another reason why people would internalize homophobia. Wallbanger. Back to your comment, but I will get back to what you said. EA. I need to think about that for a moment. But that's another reason too, because I think the stigma for a long time. I know this was like in the 90s. Was it the 80s or 90s? Where like when the first pandemic started, the first zoonotic pandemic, which was HIV, right? When that first started, the stigma was associated to who? Gay males. And yeah, fun fact, that's a zoonotic virus. A lot of people don't know that. I always found that interesting that people didn't know that. But yeah, that's another reason why people hated or would create internalized hatred for themselves, homophobia for themselves, because they didn't want to be linked to that stigma too. It still happens today. It still happens today. Do you think HIV craze in the 80s was worse than COVID in 2020? Well, it's hard for me to say. Well, there's no cure for HIV. They have drugs that help it or suppress it, but there's no cure for it. Same thing how there's no cure for COVID. There's a vaccine. Several. I feel like this might have been. I think HIV craze might have been worse, only because there. Okay, I don't know. I have to compare. because I feel like there was a lot of confusion behind HIV during that time. I wasn't sure who could get it because some people were saying like, oh, you couldn't get it just like through normal, like not normal. I don't want to say that word. I'm sorry. Heterosexual like relations, and then find out that wasn't true. Like anybody could get it, and they had to start like weighing out things that were like not true. Like breathing in a room with somebody who had HIV was not going to give you HIV. Like there's a lot of things that they had to clear up, similar to how they had to clear up things here with COVID, and how would you be protected from COVID? How would you not? But there was also a lot of different political things happening too. So I have to look back at the stuff, or I have to talk to somebody who was during that time. They were like ethnographing what was going on. I had to ask them to get a good compare and contrast. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, things are clear to me in this present time. But for me to look back at that and try to like get a good feel, I couldn't get a good feel if I'm just pulling from TV, right? Because we can see how like TV now has made this whole COVID thing like not even that serious. Like first they were saying it wasn't that big deal, and then they're saying it was a big deal, and they're saying everything's back to normal. Like, everything's flip floppy. But people living in the situation are like, nah, things ain't cool, or nah, this and the third. So I would imagine that would probably be the same thing that would be going on. Sorry, that went on during that time with HIV. So I'm saying I had to talk to somebody during that time who was going through like the thick of it to give like a good comparison. I couldn't just say off the top. I have to think about it. But in terms of your previous question you were asking, I think this is interesting because I have this like it's a philosophical term, I believe. And I think it has to do with the fact that like nobody has any like value or something at birth. And if I'm remembering it correctly, I think people have an intrinsic value. If you weren't meant to be here, you would not be here. I'm quoting that line from a friend of mine who was telling somebody about telling someone off. I was telling a student off. I was telling this person about a student who came to my office and they were complaining about people who had disabilities and saying like, well, why are they here? Why are they here? Like just being horrible, talking about somebody with disabilities. And this friend of mine said, yeah, if they weren't supposed to be here, they wouldn't be here. Literally, they would not be here. Like a lot of people don't make it. Like a lot of people don't even make it to be here, living here. Some people don't even make it. So, yeah, I think people have intrinsic value. So saying that at birth something doesn't have value, I think is crazy. People have intrinsic value. But let me know if I'm misunderstanding the philosophy behind that. Because I have to think about that. I'm like, yeah, I know what you're talking about, but if we give something value, it has value. So, do you think? Okay, you're asking that question. SV Filmer. I knew my nephew was going to be gay, and I didn't want her to go. I didn't want her to go through what I did. I wanted her to have someone to talk to because I knew her parents weren't going to be there for her. Well, that's a good thing. I'm glad that you were there for her. And it was nice of you to even be there for her. That's actually a good thing. You're a good person. You're a good person for doing that. Definitely. Schools weren't closed down for HIV. I don't remember. I thought there were some cases, but I have to look it up. Right. So how do you not give it permission though? I don't understand. Like, if you were to have a kid, the kid isn't consenting. It's just, it happens because two people got together. Or like for example, some people will say like, oh, a petri dish, right? But there are literally people who, well, first of all, there's no other way to incubate. Like, you have to put the fertilized egg in a womb. We don't have artificial wombs yet. We don't have anything like that yet. That's why we have to get this way to artificially inseminate people. But anyway, in terms of consent, yeah, I don't understand, because to create life without his permission, that's crazy. Life happens. That means that the thing wanted to be here. You know what I mean? It wasn't meant to be here, it wouldn't be here. The argument is that since the man can't consent to existence, then it's unethical to create that life and is to rape. I don't think it is akin to rape. Rape is an act of violence. Creation is not an act of violence. If violence happens from that creation, that just is what happened, but it's not akin. Yeah, that's consent is a concept that we created. When it comes to like something being born from an act of a sexual act, it's almost like automatic, like an automatic response. It's like saying, well, I don't want to blink, or saying I don't want to breathe. It's automatic. Like, there's nothing that can be done. When the process starts happening, it starts happening. If something is fertilized, it's gonna grow things. It's like taking a seed and putting it in soil and putting water on it. You don't think it's gonna grow? It may not. But the action of it can't stop it unless you interject, if you want to interject. But if you don't interject, that seed in that fertilizer, in that water, is gonna grow. Well, a good one is Frankenstein. We're talking about creating something, whether it's ethical. That's a good story to talk about. But in terms of two people like having sex, and the woman gets pregnant, I view it like automatic. It's not something that you could have necessarily prevented unless you actively took like a pill or you did something to stop the pregnancy from happening. Something that just happens, again, when you put a seed in soil and then you put water on it in sunlight, it's going to happen. Rape is having something forced upon you without your permission. Create a life would be the same thing to the potential life you choose to create. Yeah. Again, it's not the same. You cannot compare the two things. This is a false equivalent. This is a false equivalent. That means everything's getting raped then. That means outside where I just created all those gardens, I just raped a whole bunch of vegetables. That's what you're telling me. Oh, you're telling me that I took some seeds, I put them in the soil, and I forced that thing to make a damn plant. I raped those plants. It's a false equivalent. Life without asking for permission. So you're telling me that I raped a bunch of plants? Well, I'm not artificially inseminating any animals, which that would be considered rape. That's why vegans are vegan. It's one of the reasons why vegans are vegan. But yeah, no. Again, if you want to stop a pregnancy, you can. Would that also be considered murder then? Some people's logic that if you terminate a pregnancy as it's happening, that you're now considered a murderer. Some people think that. They really think that. Like life begins at inception. Sorry, not inception. Life begins as soon as like something starts growing. So would that be considered murder? Should we all just wear a condom and have sex to not create life? It doesn't seem functional. It doesn't make sense. We have a will to survive. We can reproduce. If we weren't supposed to reproduce, we wouldn't reproduce. If we didn't have the ability to reproduce, we wouldn't have the ability to reproduce. There's plenty of organisms. There's plenty of living things. I should say that. There's things that are existing in our world, whether you classify them as living or not. But there's things that are existing in the world that do not have reproductive parts. So if we weren't supposed to procreate, we wouldn't be able to do it. So again, this idea that you're trying to conflate something that's not the same. Rape is not the same as like having sex and then automatically, without you interfering, you start having start to create a child. And then you're conflating two things that aren't the same. Do you think you should have a choice whether you come into existence? No one can even tell me when consciousness is here. So you can't even tell me when consciousness exists. So there's some things in life you don't have a choice. Like I don't have a choice but to breathe air. I could sit here all day long and be like, I don't want to breathe, but I don't have a choice. Like it's something that I have to do because it's part of it's a functional thing. It's a physical and functional thing. So there's plenty of things that I don't have a choice in that as a living thing you just deal with. Like, for example, I didn't choose the fact that like the sun is highly cancerous, but that's the situation. Book of Rhymes. Seems like the term makes more sense when creating species that would naturally form like ancient mythological creatures. I get you. That could be a justification for anything. That's my justification for this. Including the R word. What's the R word? You just You just don't have a choice because it was thrust upon you without your permission. That's the point. Yeah, it's not rape. You're really trying to make these things the same, and they're not. It's not a thing. Fetch is not a thing. Fetch will never be a thing. You want to deconstruct how reproduction works. You want to argue reproduction. I can't make reproduction something it isn't. If you have functional working parts, then that's what happens. And again, if we were not supposed to reproduce, we wouldn't be able to reproduce. There's plenty of people who can't reproduce. There's plenty of people who are in the act of like creating and don't create. There's active people there's people are in the act right now trying to create and they can't create. So again, you want to thrust an autonomic thing, if it's not interfered, an autonomic thing, into a false equivalent with rape. I'm not going to give it to you, brother. It's not going to happen. Sorry. You're trying to, an evolutionary thing, you're trying to compare it to rape. That's wild thought process. And the philosophy makes no sense. Life should have a choice. It does. Some people make it and some people don't. I just said this. There are people who are trying to create right now and they can't create. Thus, the choice of life didn't happen. If it's all sporadic, doesn't matter either way. But you're trying to compare the idea of rape to something that those people cannot necessarily control. There are people who've tried to interfere with like procreation and they still had it. Some people got their tubes tied and they still had kids. There are people who have had their tubes tied and they still had children. People who've taken all the pills, like haven't missed a step and they still got pregnant. You are really trying to compare rape to reproduction. Like you're really trying to compare the two. You cannot compare the two. It's a false equivalent. And rape isn't just the forcible act. When you said that, I thought that was funny. I was like, just. It kind of reminded me of people who say, oh, someone just died. And I'm like, yeah, because just dying is just like, it's no big deal. Someone just died. No. Like, rape isn't just something forced upon you. It's a brutal act. Like, I always tell like people who are like the act of rape is not this thing that you see on a movie. There are several forms, and it's never be glorified or like looked in the sexual matter in any kind of way. You cannot compare the two. Instead, we make a choice for them. Okay, we didn't make a choice. Again, you can control whether or not you thrust existence upon someone. I think I clarified all this already. And one would say the burden of existence is a brutal act. Well, not everybody got together and realized they were a bunch of morons and stopped acting like a bunch of bumbling and stumbling idiots. But we clearly can see that in 2020 and 2021 and clearly 2022 and going on forward, that people in living in existence, the short time that humans have been around, which is what, like 10,000 years, something like that. It was a short time. It was a short time that human beings have actually been here on the planet. And we fucking up everything. So maybe we learned not to be so damn brutal and stupid. The burden of living wouldn't be a thing. The burden of living wouldn't be such a burden. Life doesn't have to be this difficult. Book of Rhymes. The cells making up the being has agreed to life. Exactly. And if they don't agree, guess what? You don't exist. Because if you weren't meant to be here, you wouldn't be here. So again, Some people are choosing. Some people are picking and choosing. Some people are just saying, "I'm not gonna get involved." So some cells are saying, like, "I want to make it. I want to be created." Others are like, "I don't want to be created." It's a brutality. Exactly, rape is a brutality. Creation is not so brutal. I mean, on a molecular standpoint. One if which was forced upon you without your consent. You're taking away agency. You're taking away agency from something they can't think or comprehend. Like a vegetable. When is this particular thing conscious? Again, what's his name already said? Book of Rhymes already said. A cell's making up the being. Making up the being has agreed to life. And some cells agree, some don't. It is. What came first, agency or the egg? Consciousness came first, then realizing it was an egg, and then agency. More than likely in that order. An existence that could not potentially happen if you did not create said life. I think we already clarified this. I think we already clarified. Some people make it, some people don't. Young people have miscarriages. Something that we don't talk about often, but people have miscarriages. But anyway, we're gonna get out of this subject. We were on here way too long talking about that. Anyway, back to the subject at hand. So, internalized homophobia. So, to summarize everything we talked about tonight, mainly when it comes to not like hating yourself and loving yourself, you have to put yourself in situations to work through it. Some people say you go through healthier ways of coping, and that would be hanging out with people who are from that community, and remembering that they're like everybody else, that they're going to have their quirks and differences, and some groups of people you won't get along with, others you will, and then finding your niche, finding where you fit in. And then also being in environments where you're welcome. You don't want to be in a situation where like you're in a hostile environment. You want the idea of homophobia, of being homosexual or coming from the LGBTQ community, Q plus community. You want to be in situations where it's a positive environment, which would help remove some of the stigma of internalized homophobia. Also, at the same time, again, I try to avoid a lot of that negative stuff. I researched a lot of like the homophobia people had, and I realized a lot of it didn't even apply to me. A lot of it was related to like religious stuff or related to things that they associated with things that were happening like in the prison, like a lot of like negative stereotypes they saw on television or whatever. They didn't really know anybody who was homosexual. They didn't really know anybody. So they had all this internalized hate for like no good reason, and then, or had all this hate for homosexuals, which also made me have thoughts about like, well, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to be like everybody else. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be like that, so on and so forth. So I've just avoided a lot of that as much as I could. It's impossible to say that you're not going to come across that. I mean, it's just not reality. But to reduce that is great so that you can understand yourself better and how you want to carry yourself. Because there's times when you'll see people, like, for example, I'm just going to use this as an example. Some people will see people on TV who are part of the LGBTQ community, and they'll do stuff, and you'll be like, do I have to be like that? Do I have to act like that? And you quickly start realizing, like, you don't have to be like that. You don't have to act like that. You don't have to be anything like that. You can be who you are, and that whole whoever you want to like sleep with is your business. And if you want to share with people, then you can share it. But that's not your identity. That's just a part of you. That's a piece of you. I always find it interesting that people want to go out and like express it and talk about it. And I'm like, that's cool. But ultimately, it's not my business, not your business. And that's another reason why people have created that internalized homophobia. The feeling of the shame of saying that, like, oh, I am like this, when you don't really have to. You don't have to really tell anybody anything. You don't want to. Some people feel obligated to share it, and they hate themselves for having to share it because they felt like pressured by society, or pressured by their community, or pressured by family members, or pressured by the person that they're seeing. And unfortunately, when people pressure you to do stuff, you become resentful, which also amplifies or exacerbates the internalized, homophobia. You start thinking like, well, why did I even say this? Why did I bring this up? I wasn't ready to talk about it. I wasn't ready to have a conversation. So being in good environments helps a lot. Being able to talk about stuff like this with people who aren't going to sit here and just talk shit and judge you and beat you down, which is like the worst thing to do. That's the worst thing you can do to somebody who is feeling lost, or feeling like, oh, I hate myself for this, or I hate myself for that. The worst thing you could do is put somebody in a situation, like beat on them. I don't mean just physically. I mean mentally and emotionally. Beat on that person because of the thing that they are struggling with internally. So I hope you all enjoyed today's Comm major discussions. We almost had 4 hours tonight. I really want to stick with this one for some time and have a really good conversation. I'm sorry we delved into a little other things a little bit. I apologize for that. Not that I didn't like some of the exchange back and forth about the ethics thing. It's just wasn't really planning on that tonight. I was more just trying to focus on the internalized homophobia thing. Let me see. Yeah, no problem. The topic came from SV Filmer, was a requested topic. I'm going through some other requested topics, but I wanted to make the next couple of streams something a little bit more interactive and fun. The next one's going to be about, let me see, hold on. One love, one love. Thanks, it truthfully helps. You're welcome. And thank you to Filmer for the topic. Next episode, 4 hours of yeah, we would have to do that, definitely. You and I will have to have a conversation. I would love to get you on here. We can have a conversation back and forth and talk about it. That'd be great. So the next one that we will do next Friday, we're going to talk about indie games and how they are dynamic. And we're going to talk into a lot of stuff, a lot of the creative things. It'll probably be a long one like this one was tonight, about 4 hours. We're going on 4 hours. We'll probably be another long one, but we will definitely be talking about video games and things associated with those indie video games I'm going to bring up. Let me see. Book of Rhymes. and the ethics of creating unconsenting life. Sure, no problem. Game reflects on you. Flames of youth. Yes. So yes, we will talk about in the next one. It will be more light-hearted, if you will, because I know the last couple of streams have been pretty heavy on the certain subjects. Even though I love these conversations, especially this one, I wasn't sure how much I was going to disclose tonight about some of the stuff I went through. But I was glad to be challenged to talk a little bit about myself and also bring up other people's experiences. I'm glad you all shared your experience tonight. I know a lot of this stuff can be hard to talk about, especially stuff like close to you, especially things about your sexuality, about your identity, about your ethics. So that can be really difficult. So I do appreciate everybody participating tonight and jumping in when they felt like it was necessary. Thank you for all the references as well tonight that everybody brought up. Thank you for that. I do appreciate the visuals because, you know, you got to make it interesting. Got the visuals right. So again, like I said, next week we're going to talk about the video game indie games. That will also be another long stream. I cannot wait for that one. And the week after that, I will do another stream, which is going to be an open discussion. We're going to just talk about all the things that are going on. And it will be kind of like how tonight was, but all of it will just be random conversations, random things that we're talking about. It won't be a subject per se. It'll be open and we're going to just talk about whatever. So anyway, I just want to say thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your time and your patience. AA games, if the 90s are indie games, tons of indie games we're going to talk about. I just want to say thank you so much, everybody, for coming. Thank you, SV Filmer, for the topic tonight. And thank you so much. And I hope you look back at this and you enjoy. If you have any questions or any critiques or anything you want to say, please send it, put it in the comments after watching the video. Or you can send me emails. Like I said, my email is Ms.KellyDozier at gmail.com. Or if you're on my Instagram, send me a message on my Instagram and say, hey, I have a topic I want to talk about. What do you think? And then we'll see how we can move it into the show and bring it up. But again, and I'm hoping to have some people on this show. If not calling in, on screen with me talking, that'd be so great. If you're uncomfortable with your sexy face being on camera, it's okay. You can just have your little avatar. And your little avatar can like boom, 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 boom. You know how it does. You know how it does when you're talking. I'm going to show you right here. When you're talking and there's this little pulsating thing. Yeah. So you can be on camera like that with me if you're uncomfortable showing your sexy face. Anyway, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. And you all have a very good night and have a great weekend. And I think I might come on here and watch the Earth, Wind, and Fire and Icy Brother thing. I think I might just come on here live and we'll talk about it. We'll see how I'm feeling. But all right, y'all. Peace. Have a good night. Enjoy your weekend.